The paradox of existence invites us to confront the mystery of why there is something rather than nothing, a question that has puzzled philosophers, scientists, and curious minds throughout the ages. It challenges the notion that the universe is simply a backdrop to our lives by suggesting that the very act of existing is both a miracle and a conundrum. Our reality appears to be an intricate tapestry woven from threads of order and chaos, where natural laws and random events coexist in a delicate balance that defies straightforward explanation. At the core of this paradox is the observation that while the cosmos follows precise physical laws, from gravity that binds galaxies to quantum fluctuations that spark new forms of energy, it also contains an element of unpredictability. On one hand, the predictable, clockwork nature of the universe implies that everything happens for a reason, governed by cause and effect. On the other, the randomness of quantum events hints at a deeper level of uncertainty that challenges our understanding of free will and destiny. This tension between determinism and randomness compels us to ask whether our lives are the inevitable outcome of a cosmic plan or a fleeting accident in an indifferent universe. The human experience further deepens this puzzle. Unlike inanimate matter, we possess the ability to reflect on our own existence, to question our purpose, and to strive for meaning amid uncertainty. This self-awareness is at once a gift and a burden. It opens the door to creativity, innovation, and profound insight, yet it also forces us to wrestle with existential questions that can be both unsettling and inspiring. We find ourselves caught in a dance between seeking clarity and embracing mystery, between desiring definite answers and accepting that some questions may forever remain open. Moreover, the paradox of existence is mirrored in the interplay between permanence and change. Our lives are marked by continuous transformation. We evolve through experiences, relationships, and the relentless passage of time. At the same time, we hold on to a core sense of identity, a continuity that defies the constant flux of our circumstances. This duality is reflected in nature itself, where cycles of birth, death, and rebirth occur on scales ranging from the microscopic to the cosmic. Just as stars are born from clouds of gas and eventually fade into obscurity, every element of our existence seems to be part of an eternal cycle that is both finite in individual moments and infinite in its recurrence. This inherent contradiction can lead to a sense of disorientation. When we recognize that our lives, with all their hopes and struggles, are just a tiny part of a vast and ever-changing universe, we might feel both insignificant and profoundly connected to something greater. It is in this space of uncertainty that many find inspiration, a call to live authentically and to create meaning through art, relationships, and the pursuit of knowledge. The very act of questioning our existence becomes a powerful expression of our humanity, a declaration that even in a world governed by indifferent natural laws, our inner lives hold immeasurable value. In embracing the paradox, we are encouraged to see that meaning is not handed to us by the universe, but is something we construct through our actions, choices, and the narratives we create about our lives. The search for meaning is less about discovering an objective truth and more about engaging with life's complexities and contradictions. Each person, through their unique experiences and perspectives, contributes to a collective understanding of what it means to be alive. This creative process transforms the challenge of existence into an opportunity for growth, connection, and self-discovery. Ultimately, the paradox of existence reminds us that life is a blend of certainty and mystery. The measurable laws of physics coexist with the immeasurable depths of human emotion and thought, each influencing the other in subtle, sometimes unpredictable ways. Our awareness of this duality can be both humbling and liberating. It allows us to appreciate the beauty in uncertainty and to find comfort in the knowledge that, although we may never fully unravel the secrets of the cosmos, our quest to understand is what truly defines us. In the end, the paradox of existence is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced. It is an invitation to explore the interplay of logic and wonder, to accept that the universe is as much a work of art as it is a scientific phenomenon, and to recognize that our journey, fraught with questions, discoveries, and the continuous evolution of thought, is what gives life its deepest meaning. The Dance of Contradictions invites us to embrace the interplay of opposites that define every facet of existence. Every moment we experience is a delicate balance between conflicting forces, a fusion of light and shadow, certainty and mystery, joy and sorrow, that together create the vibrant tapestry of life. In our everyday world, we witness this dance in nature. The sunrise that follows the dark of night, the gentle ebb and flow of tides, the transformation of decay into new growth. Such natural cycles remind us that what appears to be an ending is often but the precursor to a new beginning, that the beauty of existence is born from the union of change and continuity. Within ourselves, this dance is even more profound. Our inner lives are a blend of contrasting emotions and thoughts, a simultaneous yearning for stability and a hunger for the unknown. We find that strength often emerges from vulnerability, and that moments of profound insight are interwoven with periods of confusion. The very qualities that seem at odds, passion and reason, impulse and caution, are not mutually exclusive. Rather, they work together to propel us toward growth. It is in the tension of these opposing forces that we discover the depth of our character, realizing that each contradiction within us holds the potential to shape a more nuanced, authentic self. In our relationships, the Dance of Contradictions plays out as a constant negotiation between closeness and independence. Friends, partners, and family members often embody both support and challenge, warmth and distance. These dual aspects enrich our connections, forcing us to navigate the fine line between intimacy and individuality. The push and pull of differing perspectives can lead to moments of discomfort, yet it is through these very moments that true understanding and empathy are cultivated. By accepting the inherent contradictions in our interactions, we learn that love is not a static state, but a dynamic process, one that requires continual adjustment, compromise, and ultimately, celebration of diversity. Intellectually, contradictions fuel our quest for truth. Philosophers and scientists alike have long grappled with the paradoxes that lie at the heart of reality, questions that defy simple answers and compel us to re-examine our assumptions. The dialectical method, for example, is rooted in the idea that conflicting viewpoints are essential for uncovering deeper truths. Through the synthesis of opposites, we come to appreciate that our understanding of the world is not a fixed, monolithic construct, but an evolving tapestry, constantly enriched by new insights and reinterpretations. In this light, contradictions are not obstacles to clarity, but rather stepping stones that lead us toward a more profound grasp of existence. Art, too, thrives on the tension between opposing elements. In literature, music, painting, and other creative pursuits, artists harness the power of contrasts to evoke emotion and provoke thought. A melody that oscillates between harmony and dissonance can mirror the tumultuous rhythms of the human heart, while a painting that juxtaposes bold strokes with subtle hues might capture the simultaneous presence of order and chaos. Such works of art remind us that beauty often lies in the collision of disparate elements, a testament to the idea that it is precisely the contradictions in life that make it compelling, unpredictable, and ultimately transformative. On a broader scale, societal progress often emerges from the clash of competing ideas. History is replete with examples of how revolutionary change is born from the tension between tradition and innovation. Social movements and cultural shifts arise when established norms are challenged by fresh perspectives, when the familiar is disrupted by the promise of something new. In these moments of conflict, we see that contradictions are not merely sources of strife. They are also catalysts for growth, urging communities to evolve and adapt. By learning to negotiate the spaces between opposing forces, societies can foster a more inclusive and resilient future, one that honors both continuity and change. Ultimately, the Dance of Contradictions is a celebration of life's complexity. It teaches us that simplicity is an illusion and that every element of our experience, whether harmonious or discordant, plays a crucial role in the unfolding narrative of our existence. Embracing contradictions means accepting that certainty and uncertainty, stability and flux coexist side by side. It is in this acceptance that we find the freedom to explore, to question, and to create meaning from the mosaic of experiences that shape our lives. As we journey through life, each step becomes part of a grand choreography, a fluid, ever-changing performance, where every misstep, every pause, and every burst of clarity contributes to our ongoing evolution. In the delicate interplay of opposites, we find not only the challenges that spur us forward, but also the beauty that emerges when we learn to dance with life in all its multifaceted glory. The Dance of Contradictions, then, is an invitation to recognize that within every conflict lies the seed of harmony, and within every duality, the promise of transformation. Embracing this dance is to acknowledge that our lives are defined not by the absence of conflict, but by the creative energy that arises from it, inviting us to move gracefully between the extremes and to discover a deeper, more resonant understanding of what it means to be truly alive. The illusion of time is a mysterious veil that shrouds our everyday experience, dictating the rhythm of our lives while simultaneously eluding any fixed, objective definition. In our calendars and clocks, time appears as a relentless stream, a sequence of moments marching forward, unyielding and unchangeable. But when we examine its true nature, we discover that what we perceive as the flow of time may be nothing more than an emergent construct of our minds and the physical laws that govern the cosmos. Our internal sense of time is deeply personal, stretching or contracting in response to our emotions and experiences, so that joyful moments seem to fly by while periods of anxiety or boredom drag on interminably. This subjectivity hints at a profound truth, that time, as we commonly understand it, is not a fundamental component of the universe, but rather a narrative we impose to organize our perceptions of change. At the heart of modern physics lies a challenge to our conventional understanding of time. Einstein's theories of relativity shattered the notion of an absolute universal clock by revealing that time is relative. Its passage is altered by speed and gravity. In the depths of space or near a massive object like a black hole, time slows and warps in ways that defy our everyday experience. The ticking of an atomic clock aboard a satellite, for instance, must be corrected to sync with clocks on Earth, a subtle reminder that even our most precise measures of time are subject to the dynamic interplay of space and energy. This fluidity in time's passage underscores that the steady, linear progression we take for granted is a convenient approximation rather than an unalterable truth. Our experience of time is further complicated by the way our brains process memory and anticipation. Neuroscience has shown that our perception of time is intimately linked with attention, emotion, and memory, which together form a tapestry that is uniquely personal. When we are deeply absorbed in a creative endeavor or lost in a meaningful conversation, our internal clock seems to slow, allowing us to savor each moment. Conversely, when we are preoccupied or anxious, the same span of minutes might evaporate in a blur. This malleability suggests that the passage of time is less a measure of an external reality and more a reflection of our internal states, a psychological construct that helps us make sense of our continuous experience in an ever-changing world. Philosophers have long debated whether time exists independently of our minds or is merely a byproduct of human consciousness. Some assert that every moment, the past, present, and future, coexists in a timeless block, with our sense of progression arising only from the way we navigate this unchanging landscape. In this view, the now is an illusion, a fleeting point that our consciousness picks out from an endless, static tapestry. This radical perspective challenges the very essence of cause and effect, suggesting that the future is as fixed as the past, and that our feeling of free will and the forward momentum of time are constructs designed to give meaning to our lives. Even our modern, technology-driven society is built around the illusion of time. We measure our days in hours and minutes, schedule meetings, and set deadlines, all in the belief that time is a tangible resource that can be managed, saved, or wasted. Yet when we claim, "I don't have time," we are often admitting that we have not chosen to prioritize the task at hand, rather than acknowledging an absolute shortage. The tools we use to coordinate our lives, from digital calendars to atomic clocks, are powerful conveniences, but they are not definitive proof that time, in any metaphysical sense, is as concrete as we imagine. Instead, these tools are a shared agreement that helps us navigate the complexities of modern existence, a social construct that enables collaboration and progress. The illusion of time extends even into the realm of fundamental physics, where some researchers argue that time may not exist at all in the way we conceive it. Theoretical frameworks suggest that at the most basic level, the universe might be timeless, a static, unchanging entity from which time emerges only as a macroscopic illusion. In such models, events are correlated not through a universal clock, but by their relationships to one another, much like the way temperature emerges from the kinetic energy of countless individual particles. This idea that time is not a basic ingredient of reality, but an emergent property arising from deeper, timeless laws, forces us to rethink our entire understanding of existence and the nature of change. Despite these challenging concepts, the illusion of time remains an essential part of our human experience. Whether it is the gentle stretching of a summer afternoon or the hurried pulse of a busy workday, our perception of time shapes our lives, influencing how we remember the past, engage with the present, and plan for the future. By recognizing that time may be more malleable and subjective than our instruments suggest, we open ourselves to a richer understanding of our existence, one that embraces both the precise measurements of physics and the elusive, ever-shifting landscape of our inner lives. In contemplating the illusion of time, we come face to face with a paradox. Time appears as both a strict measure that orders our universe and as a fluid, almost ethereal dimension that exists only in the interplay of our thoughts and memories. This duality invites us to live more fully in the present, to question the constraints of schedules and deadlines, and to appreciate the moments that truly define our human experience. Ultimately, whether time is an absolute cosmic force or merely an emergent illusion, its impact on our lives is undeniable, urging us to consider that the true value of time lies not in its measurement, but in the depth and quality of the moments we choose to embrace. Circular reasoning as a lullaby begins as a gentle, spiraling refrain that softly reminds us how our thoughts sometimes fold back upon themselves, like a cradle rocking in an endless loop. It is the whisper of an idea that sings its own praises, repeating itself until the echo becomes a lullaby, a soothing yet deceptive cadence that seems to comfort but never truly explains. In our daily conversations and in our more formal debates, circular reasoning can appear as if it were a familiar melody, a phrase that seems self-evident and undeniable. Yet when we listen more closely, we hear that the tune contains no new notes beyond its first simple strain. Imagine a parent singing to a child, "It's bedtime because it's time to sleep." The words tumbling gently over one another, forming a cycle that reassures the little one with repetition. Yet, if we ask why sleep is necessary, we receive nothing more than the same familiar verse, looping over and over without offering any deeper explanation. Such is circular reasoning, a pattern where the conclusion is hidden within the premise, and the support for an idea is nothing more than the idea itself, reiterated like a lullaby's chorus. In the quiet moments before sleep, when the mind is open and reflections wander like drifting clouds, circular reasoning can seem particularly comforting. It reassures us with its consistency, offering a rhythm that feels safe, a structure that appears unassailable because it repeats its core claim. "I am who I am," it might murmur softly, echoing through the corridors of our consciousness. And yet, beneath this gentle cadence lies a subtle flaw. By merely restating itself, the argument fails to introduce any new evidence or reasoning. It does not lead us to understand the deeper why behind a claim, just as a lullaby may calm us without teaching us about the nature of dreams. Consider a common example. A politician declares, "You must support our policy because it is the best policy, and it is the best because we support it." Here the claim circles back on itself without ever breaking free to provide an independent reason. It is as if the melody plays the same four notes repeatedly, each one echoing the last, until the music becomes monotonous rather than enlightening. In much the same way, circular reasoning can lull us into acceptance by the sheer force of repetition, even though it offers no genuine proof. This pattern of thought is not limited to politics. It often arises in our personal lives. Think of a friend who insists, "I'm trustworthy because I always tell the truth, and I always tell the truth because I'm trustworthy." The words feel reassuring, like a favorite song played on repeat. Yet if we search for a reason beyond this self-affirming loop, we find only the same statement echoing back at us. In our human nature, we crave certainty and security, and sometimes the familiar sound of our own assertions, repeated over and over, feels like a warm blanket on a cold night. But while the repetitive refrain may soothe us momentarily, it does not offer any new insight. It only reinforces what was already assumed. Circular reasoning, when woven into our discourse, resembles a lullaby that is both mesmerizing and misleading. It dances in circles like a gentle spiral, where each revolution carries the same message as the one before. And just as a lullaby can induce sleep without imparting knowledge, a circular argument can persuade us to accept a conclusion without truly understanding its foundation. The repetitive nature of the argument tricks our minds into believing that consistency equates to validity, even though the true measure of an argument lies in its ability to stand on independent grounds rather than merely echo its own premise. Yet, in the realm of everyday communication, there is a certain charm to this cyclic cadence. It reminds us that sometimes our beliefs and our identities are formed by the very things we repeatedly affirm about ourselves. In a poetic sense, to say "I am what I believe I am" can be both a comforting mantra and a philosophical puzzle. When our thoughts loop back upon themselves, they create a sense of continuity, a thread of self-identity that, while not necessarily explanatory, is undeniably part of who we are. This introspective loop can be both a source of strength and a trap, much like a lullaby that rocks us into a peaceful slumber, even as it blinds us to new possibilities. In academic and logical contexts, however, the beauty of a well-crafted argument lies in its ability to break free from such loops, to build upon independent evidence and reasoning. A robust argument leads us on a journey where each step introduces fresh insight, guiding us from premise to conclusion like a story that unfolds with clarity and purpose. In contrast, circular reasoning merely treads the same ground repeatedly, offering comfort but little progress. It is the difference between a symphony that evolves over time and a refrain that never changes. So, as we listen to the soothing notes of this circular lullaby, we are invited to awaken our critical minds. We are called to ask, what is the basis of this claim? Where does the new evidence lie? By challenging the repetitive cadence of circular reasoning, we open ourselves to deeper understanding and richer insights. We learn that while repetition may provide a temporary sense of security, true enlightenment comes from breaking the cycle and venturing into uncharted intellectual territory. Circular reasoning, as a lullaby then, is both a cautionary tale and a poetic metaphor. It reminds us that our minds, though comforted by familiar songs, must also be vigilant, listening not only for the echo of what we already know, but for the new melodies that challenge and expand our understanding. In this dance of ideas, let us strive for arguments that not only soothe, but also illuminate, guiding us gently from the known into the vast landscape of genuine discovery. The Enigma of Self-Reference is a puzzle that invites us to explore the curious relationship between language and meaning, where statements turn their gaze inward and refer to themselves, blurring the lines between the subject and the object of thought. It is as if a phrase, like a whispered secret, encircles its own meaning and echoes it back, challenging our assumptions about explanation and understanding. In this mysterious dance, words seem to point to themselves, creating loops that both intrigue and confound. When a sentence declares, "This sentence is false," it sets off a paradox that has perplexed philosophers and logicians for centuries. Its claim undermines itself, leaving us with a riddle that resists simple resolution. At its heart, self-reference is a phenomenon found throughout language, mathematics, and art. In literature, it appears when a poem comments on its own structure, or a novel includes a character who is aware of being part of a story. In mathematics, it emerges in recursive definitions, and even in the groundbreaking work of Gödel, whose incompleteness theorems famously employ self-reference to show that any sufficiently complex system cannot prove all truths about its own structure. This process of turning inward is not merely a trick of language, it is a fundamental quality of thought that forces us to consider how meaning is constructed and how truth is validated. By referring to itself, an expression challenges the expectation that explanations must come from an external source, suggesting instead that the source of understanding might reside within the very thing being examined. Such self-reflexivity can be both illuminating and disorienting. On one hand, it offers a kind of intellectual elegance. By using itself as a mirror, a self-referential statement can reveal layers of meaning that might otherwise remain hidden. Consider a simple definition that uses a word to define itself, like saying, a circular definition is one that is circular. While this might seem unhelpful at first glance, it also invites us to notice the limits of our definitions and the way language sometimes traps us in its own net. On the other hand, self-reference can lead us down paths where the usual rules of logic appear to break down, as when a statement cannot consistently be labeled as true or false because it undermines its own criteria for truth. This enigmatic quality is perhaps best captured by the notion of a recursive lullaby, a soothing refrain that repeats itself until it becomes an endless echo. Imagine a mother singing a simple tune to her child. Sleep now, for sleep is what you do when you sleep. The words, comforting in their repetition, reveal nothing new, yet provide a sense of stability and continuity. In the same way, self-referential arguments can feel secure and complete, offering an illusion of thorough explanation while actually circling back to the starting point without moving the conversation forward. The comfort of repetition may lull us into accepting what is already assumed, even as it prevents us from questioning the deeper basis of the claim. Self-reference also challenges our notions of objectivity. In conventional reasoning, we expect that evidence should come from sources distinct from the conclusion it supports. When an argument refers back to itself for validation, it defies this expectation by suggesting that the truth of a claim might be inherent in its very articulation. This radical idea forces us to re-examine how we justify beliefs. Is it enough to have a claim that is self-consistent? Or must it also be anchored in something external and independently verifiable? The famous liar paradox, where a sentence states, "This statement is false," exemplifies the problem. If the statement is true, then it must be false. If it is false, then it is true. Such puzzles compel us to confront the limitations of our language and the potential need for new ways of thinking about truth and consistency. The enigma deepens when we consider that self-reference is not always a fallacy, but can be a powerful tool for creative expression and deep insight. In art, self-referential works can break the fourth wall, drawing attention to the act of creation itself. In philosophy, they can reveal the underlying assumptions of our conceptual frameworks. For instance, some theories argue that our very consciousness is self-referential. We think about our own thinking, creating a feedback loop that shapes our identity. This reflective capacity is both the source of our self-awareness and the root of many existential questions. How do we know what we know? And can we ever step outside our own perspective to gain an objective view of reality? Yet, even as self-reference offers these tantalizing possibilities, it remains an enigma because it can simultaneously be seen as both illuminating and limiting. When a concept points back to itself, it raises the possibility that all understanding is inherently self-contained, a closed system where every explanation is ultimately derived from what is already presumed. This notion can be comforting, suggesting that there is an inner coherence to our beliefs and experiences, but it can also be troubling, as it implies that our knowledge might be trapped in an infinite loop of self-affirmation, never reaching a truly external foundation. In the end, the Enigma of Self-Reference invites us to embrace uncertainty and to recognize the beauty in questions that may never have final answers. It challenges us to appreciate the layers of meaning that can emerge when a statement becomes its own subject, even as it warns us against the pitfalls of relying solely on what we already assume. Like a lullaby that soothes yet leaves one pondering its own origin, self-reference is both a celebration of the power of language and a reminder of its limits. As we reflect on these ideas, we learn that sometimes the most profound insights come not from definitive answers, but from the willingness to explore the mysterious loops of our own thought. It is in this delicate interplay of reflection and repetition that the true enigma of self-reference resides, a continuous, mesmerizing dance of ideas that compels us to keep questioning, even as we find comfort in the familiar refrain. Everyday absurdities are those curious, almost imperceptible moments when life seems to wink at us with its own sense of humor, a subtle reminder that beneath the veneer of routine, our world is a playground of contradictions and ironic juxtapositions. Picture yourself on a typical morning. You wake up to an alarm that insists on its own urgency, even though it has no idea why you're required to get up at all. You fumble through the half-asleep haze to make coffee, a beverage celebrated for its ability to jolt you into wakefulness, only to discover that the coffee maker has decided, inexplicably, to sputter and halt its operation on the very day you need it most. It is in these small failures of expectation that the absurd quietly takes root. Consider the commute, a daily ritual that, despite all our modern technology, remains a study in delightful contradictions. Traffic lights seem to conspire with the flow of vehicles, green when there's hardly a car in sight, and red when every driver is inching along. The honking of horns becomes a peculiar symphony, where each beep and blare is less about urgency and more about the shared absurdity of trying to be punctual in a system designed to test our patience. We queue at intersections and wait in line at drive-thrus, all while exchanging knowing glances with strangers who, in that brief communion of inconvenience, recognize that the day's most profound truths are hidden in these shared moments of mild exasperation. Then there's the surreal theater of bureaucracy. The process of filling out forms and waiting for approvals can seem almost like an elaborate performance art, a dance of stamps, signatures, and waiting periods that defies logic. You might submit a document only to be told that it is incomplete, even though every required box has been ticked. It's as if the system itself laughs at our efforts, inventing new rules on the fly just to keep us guessing. This is the everyday absurdity of institutions that, while meant to streamline our lives, often do the opposite by turning simple tasks into labyrinths of inefficiency. Our digital lives contribute their own flavor of absurdity. Social media platforms promise connection and understanding, yet they also create echo chambers where the same ideas loop back on themselves, like a broken record. We scroll through feeds filled with memes, celebrity quotes, and outrage, each post a microcosm of human contradiction. we are bombarded with images of perfection and success, only to find that our own realities are messy and unpredictable. In this digital carnival, the line between truth and parody blurs, and our sense of self becomes entangled in the ceaseless repetition of opinions and hashtags. It is a realm where even the act of liking a post can feel both meaningful and utterly trivial, a small nod to an endless cycle of affirmation that leaves us questioning whether we are truly connected at all. Everyday absurdities also reveal themselves in our personal interactions. Have you ever noticed how a simple greeting can sometimes spiral into a complicated dance of small talk? A ritual that, while designed to forge connection, often devolves into a series of cliches and empty exchanges? We ask, "How are you?" and expect a fleeting glimpse of genuine emotion. Yet more often than not, we hear the same polite refrain, "I'm fine." In that brief moment, the possibility for real conversation is stifled by a social convention that values form over substance, reducing the richness of human experience to a predictable, almost mechanical response. Even in our attempts to find meaning in life, we are met with absurdity. Philosophers have long mused over the nature of existence, sometimes arriving at conclusions that seem as much a source of comfort as they are a confession of life's inherent mystery. The existential humor of our condition is that while we strive to construct elaborate systems of thought to explain why things are the way they are, the more we analyze, the more we seem to realize that the only certainty is uncertainty itself. It's as if the universe has handed us a riddle with no answer, a perpetual reminder that our quest for absolute meaning is, in itself, a kind of delightful absurdity. In the midst of all this, there is a strange liberation to be found. Recognizing the absurd in everyday life can free us from the relentless pressure to conform to rigid expectations. It allows us to laugh at the unpredictable, to see beauty in imperfection, and to embrace the randomness of our experiences. Instead of fighting against the currents of chaos, we learn to navigate them with a sense of humor and resilience, accepting that the world often operates on its own quirky logic. Everyday absurdities, then, are not merely nuisances or minor irritations to be overcome. They are windows into the deeper, often inexplicable nature of reality. They challenge us to look beyond the surface of routine and to question the very fabric of our conventions. In doing so, they invite us to live more mindfully, to appreciate the comedy and tragedy woven into the tapestry of daily life, and to find solace in the fact that in a world full of contradictions, perhaps the only true certainty is the beauty of the absurd. Embracing uncertainty is about letting go of the illusion that we can control every detail of our lives, and instead opening our hearts and minds to the unknown. At first glance, uncertainty can feel intimidating, a dark, uncharted territory where outcomes are unpredictable and expectations shattered. Yet within this very ambiguity lies a wellspring of possibility and growth. When we learn to accept that not everything can be neatly planned or understood, we create room for creativity, resilience, and the kind of transformation that comes only from navigating life's unexpected turns. Consider the everyday moments that remind us of life's unpredictability. The sudden change in the weather that turns a sunny day into a rain-soaked afternoon. A plan that goes awry despite our best intentions. Or even the quiet feeling that our carefully mapped-out future might shift in ways we never imagined. These are not failures. They are signals that life is alive, dynamic, and in constant flux. Embracing uncertainty means recognizing that every setback or surprise carries the potential for learning and reinvention. It's about finding comfort in the fact that our plans are only one thread in the intricate tapestry of existence. Psychologically, the habit of clinging to certainty can be exhausting. The need for predictability often creates anxiety, as we try to ward off the fear of the unknown by building rigid routines and strict expectations. But when we loosen that grip, we discover that uncertainty is not synonymous with chaos. It can be a source of strength. By accepting that we cannot foresee every outcome, we begin to free ourselves from the burden of constant worry. This freedom, in turn, allows us to live more fully in the present, appreciating the fleeting beauty of each moment without the relentless pressure of what if. In our personal lives, embracing uncertainty opens us to deeper relationships and richer experiences. It invites us to step beyond our comfort zones, to engage with new ideas and people without the preconception that we must have all the answers. Imagine a conversation where instead of insisting on certainty, you allow space for curiosity and wonder. Such openness not only deepens mutual understanding, but also nurtures a sense of empathy, an acknowledgement that everyone, at some point, faces the same unknowns. This shared vulnerability can be the very foundation of meaningful connection, reminding us that it's our imperfections and uncertainties that make us beautifully human. On a broader scale, uncertainty is an essential ingredient in scientific discovery and artistic innovation. Scientists push the boundaries of knowledge by formulating hypotheses and testing them against a world that rarely behaves as expected. In doing so, they often uncover truths that challenge existing paradigms, sparking progress in ways that a rigid insistence on certainty could never achieve. Similarly, artists and writers thrive on the tension between order and chaos. They harness the unpredictable, channeling uncertainty into works that evoke emotion and provoke thought, showing us that not every question has a neat answer, and that sometimes the beauty lies in the question itself. Embracing uncertainty also means accepting that our lives are not defined by a single, unchanging narrative. We are constantly evolving, shaped by experiences that we could never have predicted. This evolution is not a sign of instability, but a mark of life's richness. When we welcome uncertainty, we allow ourselves to explore new paths, to take risks, and to reinvent who we are with each passing day. In doing so, we find that the journey, complete with its unexpected detours, is far more enriching than any destination we might have meticulously planned. Of course, there is a delicate balance to be struck. Embracing uncertainty does not mean surrendering to fatalism or neglecting our responsibilities. Rather, it is about cultivating a mindset that is adaptable and resilient. It means learning to navigate the unknown with a sense of purpose and trust. Trust in our own ability to adapt and grow, and trust that even if outcomes remain uncertain, we possess the inner resources to face them. In this way, uncertainty becomes not a source of paralyzing fear, but an invitation to live with intention and curiosity. Ultimately, when we embrace uncertainty, we liberate ourselves from the confines of our need to predict and control every aspect of life. We learn that the unknown is not a void to be feared, but a landscape of possibility where each uncharted step can lead to unexpected joy, discovery, and connection. In the gentle acceptance of life's unpredictability, we find a profound sense of peace, a realization that, while we may never have all the answers, our capacity to adapt, to learn, and to love remains boundless. Embracing uncertainty is an ongoing process, a journey of continual learning and self-discovery. It challenges us to remain open, to welcome both success and failure with equal grace, and to see in each moment the potential for growth. In doing so, we not only enrich our own lives, but also contribute to a more compassionate, understanding world, one that celebrates the beauty of not knowing and the transformative power of the unexpected. The Rhythm of Randomness is a celebration of the unexpected beats that punctuate our everyday lives, a melody composed of chance, unpredictability, and quiet serendipity that invites us to listen closely to the world's unscripted cadence. Imagine waking up on an ordinary morning, only to find that the familiar routine has been subtly rearranged. The gentle hum of your coffee maker, the sporadic chirp of birds outside, even the distant rumble of traffic. All of these sounds, though seemingly chaotic, form an impromptu symphony that reflects the inherent variability of life. In these moments, randomness isn't a threat to order. Rather, it is the dynamic force that fuels creativity, growth, and the continual evolution of our experiences. As we navigate our daily routines, we often seek stability and predictability, structures that promise control and certainty. Yet it is precisely within the spaces where outcomes defy expectation that the beauty of randomness is revealed. Think about the way a conversation can suddenly take an unforeseen turn, sparking laughter or deep insight, or how a simple walk in the park might uncover a hidden, unexpected vista. Each of these instances is like a musical improvisation, a spontaneous solo that, while deviating from the expected script, enriches our experience by offering something refreshingly new. The Rhythm of Randomness teaches us that life, with all its twists and detours, is less about a predetermined path and more about the spontaneous interplay of moments that defy neat categorization. In nature, this interplay is evident in the most astounding phenomena. Consider a forest where the fall of one tree triggers a cascade of events. Nutrients scatter on the forest floor, new life emerges from decaying wood, and sunlight filters differently through the canopy. Here, randomness orchestrates a cycle of renewal that is as efficient as it is unpredictable. Similarly, in the realm of science, chance events like genetic mutations or random fluctuations in the environment drive evolution, leading to the breathtaking diversity of life on Earth. These examples remind us that what appears to be disorder on the surface is often a canvas upon which nature paints its most vibrant and intricate patterns. Our modern world, with its technological advances and data-driven routines, sometimes seems designed to eliminate randomness. Yet even in our hyper-organized lives, moments of chance slip through the cracks. An unexpected email that sparks a new idea, a chance encounter with a stranger that leads to a meaningful conversation, or the sudden shift of weather that disrupts plans but opens up new opportunities. These random occurrences can be the seeds of innovation, urging us to adapt, improvise, and embrace the unknown. In doing so, we learn to view setbacks not as failures, but as invitations to explore alternative paths that may ultimately lead to unforeseen rewards. Embracing the rhythm of randomness also means learning to balance control with acceptance. While planning and structure are essential, they coexist with the unpredictable. The tension between order and chaos creates a dynamic equilibrium, much like the interplay of rhythm and silence in a piece of music. When we relinquish the need to control every outcome, we allow ourselves to be surprised, to experiment, and to grow from experiences that do not fit our expectations. In this state of openness, the unpredictable becomes a partner in our journey, a source of inspiration rather than a cause for anxiety. This perspective can transform how we view personal challenges and successes. When faced with unexpected setbacks, a missed train, a sudden change in plans, or an unforeseen problem at work, we might initially react with frustration. Yet, by attuning ourselves to the rhythm of randomness, we can reframe these moments as part of a larger, unfolding process that is rich with possibility. Each random twist in our day holds the potential to redirect us toward a more creative solution, or even to a completely new opportunity that we might never have considered if everything had gone according to plan. Ultimately, the rhythm of randomness reminds us that life is not a rigid script, but a living, breathing improvisation. It challenges us to see that the unpredictability we sometimes fear is also the very source of the wonder that makes each day unique. When we allow ourselves to dance with the unexpected, to listen to the unscripted music of our existence, we find that even the moments of seeming chaos have their own quiet, compelling order. In this dance between the known and the unknown, we not only learn to adapt and innovate, but we also discover a deeper appreciation for the mystery and beauty inherent in every moment. Embracing this unpredictable rhythm is, in essence, a call to live more fully, to cherish the serendipity that lies in the gaps between our plans, and to find comfort in the idea that sometimes the most beautiful parts of life are those we never saw coming. Whimsy in Inconsistency is a celebration of life's charming deviations, a playful embrace of the unexpected twists and delightful contrasts that arise when things don't quite follow the rules. In a world that often prizes order and predictability, inconsistency might seem like a flaw or a source of frustration. Yet, when we pause to really look, we begin to see that the very essence of creativity and vitality lies in these unpredictable moments. Consider the way a painter might deliberately leave a brush stroke unfinished, or how a poet finds beauty in an unexpected turn of phrase. Such moments remind us that the heart of life is not a perfectly engineered machine, but a living tapestry of surprises, where each inconsistency adds texture and depth. Imagine waking up to a day where nothing goes quite as planned. A morning that starts with a sudden downpour when the forecast promised clear skies. A favorite song playing in the background only to be interrupted by a whimsical jingle from the radio. These fleeting, contradictory experiences may cause a momentary pause or a smile of bemusement. They are like small notes in an improvisational jazz piece. Each one may seem off-key on its own, yet together they compose a melody that is refreshingly original and alive with possibility. In the interplay of light and shadow, of laughter and quiet reflection, inconsistency reveals its own kind of order, a rhythm that is not measured by uniformity, but by the dynamic dance between what we expect and what unfolds. There is a quiet magic in the unpredictability of human nature as well. Think about conversations where the expected "How are you?" is met not with a rehearsed reply, but with a genuine admission of feeling both elated and troubled all at once. In those moments, the apparent contradiction in our emotions is not a sign of weakness or confusion. Rather, it is a vivid portrait of our complexity, a reminder that our inner worlds are rich tapestries, woven with threads of conflicting experiences. It is in this very inconsistency that our authenticity lies. The spontaneity of a laugh that bursts forth at an unexpected remark, or the tender pause before an honest confession, are all proof that life's beauty often comes from embracing our imperfect, multifaceted selves. In art and literature, too, Inconsistency often takes center stage as a deliberate strategy to capture the essence of the human condition. Many of the world's most celebrated works of art do not conform to strict realism or linear narrative. Instead, they revel in the playful collisions of ideas and emotions. Surrealist paintings, for instance, juxtapose ordinary objects in bizarre contexts, forcing the viewer to question what is real and what is imagined. These works invite us to see beyond the surface, to appreciate the deeper, sometimes paradoxical truths that emerge when we allow our perceptions to wander freely. Through such creative expressions, inconsistency becomes not an error to be corrected, but a source of endless inspiration. Even in our modern, fast-paced lives, the unpredictability that stems from inconsistency can be a wellspring of innovation. Consider how technological breakthroughs often arise not from meticulous planning alone, but from the serendipitous collisions of ideas in moments when we least expect them. A spontaneous remark during a brainstorming session, a sudden insight born from distraction, or even an accidental discovery can all lead to transformative innovations. In this light, inconsistency is not a barrier to progress, but an essential ingredient in the recipe for creativity. It invites us to remain open to the unexpected and to recognize that sometimes the best solutions emerge from the most unanticipated places. Moreover, embracing inconsistency can transform our relationship with failure and success. When we insist on rigid consistency in every aspect of our lives, we often set ourselves up for disappointment. Plans that are too inflexible leave little room for adaptation when life inevitably throws a curveball. By contrast, when we learn to celebrate the whimsical unpredictability of our experiences, we build resilience. We come to understand that mistakes and detours are not signs of defeat, but rather natural parts of a larger, unfolding journey. In this way, inconsistency becomes a gentle teacher, urging us to laugh at our missteps and to see each deviation as an opportunity for growth and reinvention. In our relationships too, the charm of inconsistency can be a source of connection and warmth. No two people are exactly alike, and the little idiosyncrasies that set us apart often become the very reasons we are drawn to one another. The unpredictable quirks, a sudden burst of spontaneity, a moment of unguarded vulnerability, enrich our interactions and create memories that are uniquely our own. These moments of delightful unpredictability remind us that love and friendship are not found in perfection, but in the honest, sometimes messy interplay of our diverse selves. They encourage us to cherish the beauty that lies in our differences and to find joy in the unexpected ways that we complement one another. Ultimately, whimsy in inconsistency is an invitation to see the world with fresh eyes, a call to appreciate that life's charm often resides in its very unpredictability. By letting go of the need for constant order and embracing the playful dance of chance, we open ourselves to a more vibrant, authentic existence. In the gentle chaos of our everyday experiences, there is a rhythm that celebrates the art of the unexpected, reminding us that every inconsistency, every twist and turn, contributes to the rich symphony of life. So next time you find yourself caught off guard by the delightful surprises of the day, take a moment to smile, to revel in the beauty of uncertainty, and to dance along with the rhythm of randomness. The quiet power of doubt is not a weakness to be feared, but a subtle force that challenges our assumptions, opening a space for growth, creativity, and genuine understanding. It begins as a small, almost imperceptible hesitation, a pause before the mind rushes to accept things as they are, and in that pause lies an invitation to question. When doubt enters our thoughts, it gently unsettles the rigid certainty that can confine our perceptions. It whispers that there might be more to learn, that our beliefs, however deeply held, could benefit from a closer examination. Imagine waking up one morning with a belief so ingrained it seems unassailable, a notion about what success looks like or what happiness means. Yet, as you go about your day, small moments of uncertainty creep in, a conversation that hints at alternative perspectives, a fleeting emotion that contradicts your routine outlook, or an unexpected event that disrupts your carefully planned schedule. These are the seeds of doubt, subtle and quiet, that encourage you to reflect rather than merely react. In this reflective space, doubt becomes a tool, a lens through which you begin to see that certainty is often built on assumptions that might no longer serve you. Doubt's true power lies in its capacity to foster intellectual humility. When we allow ourselves to admit that we do not know everything, we open the door to genuine learning. This humility transforms doubt from a paralyzing fear into an empowering challenge. It encourages us to ask questions, seek out evidence, and explore ideas we might have otherwise dismissed. In academic and creative pursuits alike, doubt prompts us to scrutinize our methods and beliefs. It is the catalyst that drives scientists to test their hypotheses and innovators to reimagine what is possible. In every instance, the quiet questioning of doubt nudges us toward deeper understanding, ensuring that our conclusions are not simply the unchallenged echo of our initial assumptions. In our relationships too, doubt plays a quiet but essential role. It allows us to remain open to others' viewpoints, recognizing that no single perspective holds all the answers. When we engage with others from a place of healthy skepticism rather than blind conviction, we create space for empathy and growth. We learn that disagreement is not a threat, but an opportunity to refine our thoughts and broaden our understanding. By questioning our own opinions, we become better listeners and more thoughtful communicators, able to bridge differences with genuine curiosity rather than defensiveness. Moreover, the quiet power of doubt is a driving force in personal resilience. Life is full of unpredictability and unexpected turns. When we cling too tightly to certainty, every deviation can feel like a failure. However, if we embrace doubt as an inherent part of the human experience, we begin to see that uncertainty is not the enemy, but the very soil in which our strengths are nurtured. Each time we confront our doubts, whether about our abilities, our choices, or the path we're on, we gain a small measure of freedom. We learn to navigate the unknown with a sense of adventure rather than despair, trusting that even if we don't have all the answers right away, the journey itself is rich with possibility. At its core, doubt is an act of courage. It means stepping away from the comfort of what is familiar and venturing into the realm of what if. It's acknowledging that while certainty can offer security, it can also blind us to the evolving nature of truth. In moments of quiet introspection, doubt encourages us to re-examine our values and priorities. It asks us to consider whether the goals we pursue are truly ours, or if they are the inherited expectations of a society that prizes certainty above all else. In this way, doubt not only sharpens our minds, but also clarifies our sense of self. The beauty of doubt is that it is both gentle and persistent. It does not demand immediate resolution. Rather, it lingers, inviting continuous inquiry. In its softness, doubt allows creativity to flourish. It gives space for new ideas to germinate and old patterns to be reconsidered. Just as a sculptor chips away at a block of stone to reveal a hidden form, our willingness to question enables us to reshape our perspectives. The quiet power of doubt transforms each uncertain moment into an opportunity to grow, learn, and ultimately evolve into a more reflective and open-minded person. Ultimately, the quiet power of doubt reminds us that life's richness is not found in the certainty of answers, but in the endless exploration of questions. It teaches us that every pause, every moment of uncertainty, is a doorway to deeper understanding and a more authentic engagement with the world around us. When we learn to embrace doubt, we find that our convictions become more resilient, our creativity more vibrant, and our connections with others more genuine. In this gentle, ongoing dialogue with ourselves, doubt is not an interruption. It is the steady, reassuring rhythm that guides us toward a more thoughtful and enriched life. The beauty of logical fallacies is an invitation to appreciate the art in our imperfect reasoning, a celebration of the quirks and missteps that, despite their technical errors, reveal much about how we think and communicate. At first glance, fallacies might seem like mere mistakes to be avoided, but if we listen closely, we can hear a subtle, ironic music in them, a rhythm that reflects our human tendency to simplify, generalize, and sometimes even mislead ourselves in the search for meaning. Consider, for example, the ad hominem fallacy. On paper, dismissing someone's argument based solely on their character is clearly an error in logic. Yet, look deeper, and you might find that such attacks mirror our instinct to associate credibility with personal trust. When we lean on an ad hominem, we aren't just avoiding a tough argument. We're revealing our innate desire to connect our ideas with the people behind them. There's a raw, honest quality in how we unconsciously evaluate who we listen to, a reminder that emotion and personal experience often color our reasoning. Then there's the straw man fallacy, where one misrepresents an opponent's view in order to refute it more easily. While this maneuver is logically unsound, it exposes an essential truth about human communication, our struggle to capture complex ideas in simple language. By reducing multifaceted arguments to oversimplified caricatures, we inadvertently highlight the gap between the richness of our ideas and the constraints of everyday language. In this reduction, we see both the limitations of our discourse and the creative potential for reinterpretation, inviting us to rethink how we share and understand ideas. Circular reasoning, too, offers its own kind of beauty. Take the familiar refrain, "I'm trustworthy because I always tell the truth, and I always tell the truth because I'm trustworthy." At first blush, this loop seems absurd, a self-affirming echo with no new substance. Yet in its repetition, there's a certain hypnotic quality that speaks to how we sometimes build our identities. We often reassure ourselves with familiar statements, and though these may not advance our understanding, they provide a comforting sense of stability in an otherwise chaotic world. Even more intriguing is the slippery slope fallacy, which warns that one small step inevitably leads to a cascade of disastrous consequences. While it may exaggerate the future, it also taps into a deep-seated human anxiety about loss of control, a universal fear that, if acknowledged, can inspire us to plan more thoughtfully, balancing caution with the willingness to take risks. In its hyperbolic prediction, we see a mirror of our own uncertainties and the creative tension between caution and ambition. Every logical misstep has its own story. The false dilemma reduces a complex situation to an either-or choice, ignoring the spectrum of possibilities that lie in between. And yet, in that stark simplicity, it forces us to confront the very nature of decision-making, a challenge to look beyond binary oppositions and explore a more nuanced, multidimensional reality. What makes these fallacies beautiful is not that they are correct, but that they are deeply human. They arise from the shortcuts our minds take in the pursuit of clarity and order. They remind us that, despite our best efforts, our reasoning is always filtered through our emotions, biases, and lived experiences. In that sense, fallacies are like the brush strokes in a painting, imperfect, sometimes wild, yet altogether essential in creating a portrait of the human mind. Moreover, the study of logical fallacies has become an art in itself, a way to understand not just where our arguments go wrong, but how they reflect our values and social dynamics. The meticulous work of philosophers and educators in cataloging these errors, from the slippery slope to the appeal to emotion, serves as a reminder that even our missteps are worthy of reflection. As noted by sources like the APA Dictionary of Psychology and various academic explorations of fallacies, recognizing these patterns is an exercise in self-awareness that ultimately sharpens our critical thinking. In everyday conversations, whether in heated debates or light-hearted banter, logical fallacies add a layer of color and personality to our interactions. They provide a common language for critiquing ideas, for calling attention to the ways in which our minds, with all their beauty and flaw, operate under pressure. By understanding these errors, we learn not only to argue more effectively, but also to listen more compassionately, to see that behind every fallacious statement is a mind striving to make sense of a complex world. Ultimately, the beauty of logical fallacies lies in their dual role. They are both cautionary tales and windows into our cognitive processes. They show us the limits of our logical frameworks while inviting us to explore the messy, vibrant, and sometimes contradictory nature of human thought. In celebrating our fallacies, we celebrate our humanity, the imperfect, evolving, and endlessly fascinating journey toward understanding. And in that celebration, we discover that even in error there is a kind of truth, a whisper of insight into the creative, complex, and beautifully flawed ways we navigate the world. The puzzle of the unanswerable invites us into a realm where questions outnumber answers, where the very act of questioning becomes a journey without a final destination. It is a space where mystery and wonder reside, a place where our curiosity is both stoked and humbled by the limits of what we can know. In this realm, questions like, "What is the meaning of life?" or "Why is there something rather than nothing?" persist not because we are incapable of finding answers, but because they challenge the very structure of our understanding, revealing that some puzzles are meant to remain open-ended. Imagine sitting quietly in a dimly lit room, the only sound the steady ticking of a clock. In that silence, your mind begins to wander, pondering the vastness of the cosmos and the intricate dance of atoms that make up our existence. Here, in the quiet spaces between our busy thoughts, you encounter questions that have puzzled philosophers and scientists for centuries. These are not questions that yield to simple answers. They are enigmas, reflections of the profound complexity of the universe. The unanswerable puzzles whisper to us that certainty is an illusion, urging us instead to embrace the beauty of uncertainty. This puzzling nature is not a defect in our intellect, but a testament to the richness of the world. Consider how the ancient paradoxes, like Zeno's arrows or the famous liar paradox, compel us to re-examine our assumptions about motion, truth, and time. Each paradox is a mirror reflecting the limitations of our language and logic, reminding us that not every question can be confined to a neat, definitive answer. The very act of grappling with these puzzles sharpens our critical thinking and deepens our appreciation for the mysteries that define our existence. In our everyday lives, we encounter our own small, unanswerable puzzles. Perhaps it is the inexplicable feeling that certain moments, like the first breath of a crisp autumn morning or the quiet hum of a city at night, carry a significance that defies easy explanation. These moments, fleeting as they are, hint at a deeper order that we can sense but never fully grasp. They are like fragments of an unfinished symphony, notes that linger in the air and evoke emotion without providing a complete score. In recognizing these instances, we come to see that the pursuit of answers is not solely about finding closure, but also about appreciating the unfolding mystery of life. The puzzle of the unanswerable also serves as a catalyst for creativity and exploration. Artists, writers, and innovators often thrive on the tension between the known and the unknown. When confronted with a question that has no clear answer, the creative mind is freed to imagine possibilities beyond conventional boundaries. A painter might capture the ambiguity of a twilight sky, while a poet weaves words into verses that evoke the indefinable. In these creative expressions, the unanswerable becomes not a barrier, but a bridge, an invitation to explore new dimensions of thought and feeling. Moreover, embracing the unanswerable can be a deeply liberating act. In a society that often values certainty and quick resolutions, admitting that some questions might remain forever unresolved can be both an act of humility and a source of strength. It encourages us to accept that our knowledge is always provisional, that the pursuit of truth is an ongoing process rather than a final destination. This recognition does not diminish our understanding. Rather, it enriches it by allowing us to remain open to new ideas and insights, even if they challenge our most cherished beliefs. There is also a quiet comfort in the acknowledgement of unanswerability. When we stop demanding definitive answers to every question, we make space for wonder and contemplation. The open-ended nature of these puzzles can become a wellspring of inspiration, a reminder that the world is vast, mysterious, and full of potential. It invites us to live with curiosity, to cherish the process of inquiry rather than fixating solely on the end result. In this way, the unanswerable transforms from a source of frustration into a source of perpetual fascination. In our conversations and debates, the unanswerable often emerges as a reminder that not all differences can be neatly resolved. It challenges us to engage with others, not by winning arguments with final answers, but by exploring questions together, acknowledging the complexity of the issues at hand. This shared journey into uncertainty can foster deeper connections and more meaningful exchanges, as we come to appreciate that the beauty of dialogue lies not in absolute answers, but in the rich interplay of ideas and perspectives. Ultimately, the puzzle of the unanswerable is a celebration of life's enduring mysteries, a testament to the idea that some questions are meant to inspire more questions, rather than definitive conclusions. It teaches us that the quest for knowledge is an infinite path, one that invites us to continually explore, wonder, and grow. As we learn to live with the questions that have no easy answers, we open ourselves to the full spectrum of human experience, embracing both the clarity of insight and the richness of uncertainty. In acknowledging the unanswerable, we honor the limits of our own understanding while celebrating the vast, unknowable beauty of the world around us. It is a call to remain ever curious, to find solace in the journey rather than the destination, and to see in every unanswered question the promise of new discovery. For in the puzzle of the unanswerable, every question is a doorway, and every doorway, no matter how enigmatic, leads to deeper realms of thought and wonder. Echoes of contradiction resonate like the reverberations of a sound in an empty hall, a persistent reminder that within every certainty lies a hidden counterpoint, and within every belief there exists a subtle, often disquieting, challenge. In our lives, we encounter contradictions everywhere, in the conflicting advice we receive from those we trust, in the paradoxes that underpin our scientific theories, and even in the way our emotions can be both fierce and tender at the same time. These echoes of contradiction do not weaken our understanding. Rather, they enrich it, urging us to explore the spaces between what seems clear and what remains ambiguous. Imagine for a moment the world of art and literature, where contradictions are not flaws, but vital ingredients of creativity. A painter might juxtapose light and shadow to evoke complex emotions, or a novelist might craft a character who is simultaneously courageous and fearful. These contradictions are not errors. They are the textures that add depth to the canvas of human experience. In this way, echoes of contradiction remind us that the most profound truths are often found not in absolute clarity, but in the interplay between opposites. They compel us to look deeper, to question our initial impressions, and to consider that a single idea might harbor multiple, sometimes conflicting, meanings. Philosophy, too, finds beauty in contradiction. Think of the ancient paradoxes that have fascinated thinkers for millennia. The famous statement, "I know that I know nothing," for instance, captures a profound insight, that true wisdom comes from recognizing the limits of one's own knowledge. Such contradictions challenge the hubris of certainty and invite us to approach the mysteries of existence with humility and openness. In this light, the very act of questioning what we hold to be true is a celebration of our intellectual freedom, a refusal to settle for simplistic answers when the world itself is far more intricate. Scientific inquiry provides another stage for contradictions to play out. In the laboratory, researchers often find that the behavior of nature defies the neat rules we set up to explain it. Quantum mechanics, for example, reveals a reality where particles can exist in multiple states at once, where cause and effect blur into a haze of probabilities rather than clear, linear relationships. These scientific contradictions are not signs of failure. They are milestones on the path toward a deeper, more nuanced understanding of the universe. Each unexpected result, each observation that challenges our expectations, echoes the idea that the quest for knowledge is a journey marked by wonder as much as by answers. Even in our everyday routines, contradictions have their own subtle charm. We might plan for a day of predictability, only to be met with unexpected detours that force us to adapt. A meticulously organized schedule can be upended by a sudden rainstorm or an unanticipated phone call, and in that moment of disruption, we learn the value of flexibility and resilience. The contradictions in our daily lives, between what we expect and what actually occurs, are not merely disruptions. They are opportunities to grow, to learn to improvise, and to discover that there is often beauty in the unexpected. There is also an intimate, almost poetic aspect to living with contradiction. Our emotions, too, can be contradictory. We may feel joy and sorrow simultaneously, or experience excitement laced with anxiety. These overlapping feelings, though they may seem confusing at first, add a richness to our inner lives. They remind us that human experience is not black and white, but painted in a spectrum of colors, each shade deepened by the presence of its opposite. The echoes of contradiction in our hearts encourage us to accept our complexity, to understand that our capacity to feel deeply is both a strength and a source of continual mystery. Ultimately, the beauty of logical contradiction lies in its invitation to explore, a call to venture beyond the safe confines of certainty into a realm where questions lead to further questions, and where every answer sparks new inquiry. By embracing the echoes of contradiction, we free ourselves from the tyranny of absolute certainty and allow space for creativity, growth, and genuine understanding. In doing so, we learn that our journey is not defined solely by the answers we accumulate, but by the richness of the questions we dare to ask. In this light, the echoes of contradiction become not a source of confusion, but a symphony of ideas, a reminder that life's most profound insights often arise from the tensions between opposing forces. They teach us that true wisdom lies in our ability to hold multiple, sometimes conflicting perspectives at once, and to find harmony in the interplay between certainty and doubt. And as we navigate this intricate dance, we discover that the beauty of our experience is found not in a single, unbroken narrative, but in the vibrant, ever-changing tapestry of contradictions that shapes our lives. Serenity in the absurd invites us to find a quiet, almost meditative peace amid the perplexing, often contradictory flow of life, a state of calm that emerges not despite the chaos, but because of it. In our everyday lives, we encounter situations that defy straightforward logic, unexpected detours on a familiar route, plans that unravel in a matter of moments, and even our own fluctuating emotions that seem to contradict one another. Instead of viewing these contradictions as signs of disorder or failure, we can come to see them as part of a larger, unscripted symphony, one where the very unpredictability of life creates space for an inner serenity that is both resilient and transformative. Imagine a rainy morning when the forecast promised sunshine, or a conversation that veers off the anticipated path into uncharted territory. In those moments, our expectations are gently upended, and we're forced to acknowledge that not every twist of fate can be planned or controlled. It is in this acknowledgement, this gentle surrender to the unpredictable, that a quiet power begins to stir within us. Rather than fighting against the current of life's absurdities, we might learn to float with them, finding in their randomness a kind of beauty, a reminder that the unexpected can be the source of growth and even joy. There is a profound freedom in accepting that life does not always adhere to our neatly arranged plans. When we relinquish the need for absolute certainty, we open ourselves up to possibilities we might otherwise have missed. Consider how a painter works with unexpected splashes of color, or how a musician might embrace an improvised solo that breaks away from the structured composition. In these creative moments, the very chaos that might initially seem disruptive is transformed into the raw material for innovation and personal expression. By finding serenity in the absurd, we allow ourselves to be inspired by the world as it is, even when it resists neat explanations. This approach also touches upon an essential truth of human experience. Our emotions, thoughts, and actions are rarely as straightforward as we'd like to believe. We might feel simultaneously hopeful and anxious, or experience moments of clarity alongside lingering doubts. These internal contradictions, far from being weaknesses, are signs of our depth and complexity. They remind us that certainty is a rare luxury, and that much of what makes us human is the capacity to hold multiple, sometimes conflicting, truths in our hearts at once. In embracing this complexity, we cultivate a resilience that enables us to adapt and thrive, even in the face of life's inherent uncertainties. Philosophers and writers have long explored this interplay between chaos and calm. The existential musings of thinkers like Albert Camus have taught us that the search for meaning in a seemingly indifferent universe can be both a source of anguish and of liberation. Camus famously argued that we must imagine Sisyphus happy as he accepts the endless, absurd task before him. He finds his own form of contentment in the struggle. Similarly, when we come to see life's absurdities, not as burdens, but as invitations to remain curious and open, we discover that there is a quiet power in letting go of the need to have all the answers. In this space, every question, every moment of uncertainty becomes a stepping stone toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world. In practical terms, embracing the absurd can transform our daily routines. When a plan fails or a day doesn't go as expected, instead of succumbing to frustration or despair, we might pause, take a deep breath, and appreciate the unexpected turn as part of a larger, ever-unfolding narrative. This shift in perspective can reduce stress and foster a sense of gratitude for the small, serendipitous moments that might otherwise pass unnoticed. A shared smile with a stranger, the unexpected beauty of a city street in the rain, or even the way a favorite song can suddenly change its meaning when heard in a different context. Ultimately, serenity in the absurd is a practice, a gentle, ongoing process of learning to live with uncertainty. It is not about abandoning our aspirations or our need for order, but about finding balance between our desire for stability and the natural, inevitable flow of change. By accepting that life's contradictions and randomness are intrinsic to our existence, we open the door to a richer, more resilient way of being. We learn that every moment, however unpredictable, carries the potential for transformation, and that true peace often comes from the willingness to embrace life as it is, with all its messy, beautiful complexity. In this quiet acceptance, we find that the world, in all its absurdity, is not a puzzle to be solved, but a mystery to be lived, a vibrant tapestry woven from threads of chance and choice, unpredictability and hope. And it is here, in the space where logic meets wonder, that we discover the serene, enduring power of living fully and freely, even when nothing is ever exactly as we expect. The Lullaby of Paradox is a gentle, enigmatic melody that wraps around our thoughts like a soft blanket in the quiet hours of reflection. It begins as an invitation, a whispered call to listen to the interplay of contradictions that color our world, a song composed of questions that echo without definitive answers. In this lullaby, paradox is not a problem to be solved, but a space where multiple truths coexist, where the very tension between what we expect and what unfolds becomes a source of wonder and comfort. Imagine a scene at dusk when the sky is awash with colors that defy simple explanation. The sun sets, painting the horizon in hues of pink, orange, and violet, while shadows lengthen and mingle in a dance that is both ordered and mysterious. In that moment, the world seems to sing a quiet refrain. The day is ending, yet it is also giving birth to the night. This duality, the simultaneous presence of light and darkness, embodies the paradox at the heart of our existence. It is a reminder that even as one chapter closes, another begins, and that beauty often arises from the coexistence of opposing elements. The lullaby continues as we consider the nature of our beliefs. We often hold certain truths with unwavering conviction, yet at the same time, we find ourselves questioning them when new experiences or insights arise. It is as if our minds are tuned to a frequency where certainty and doubt harmonize. For instance, you might believe that success comes solely from hard work, yet there are moments when chance and serendipity play unexpected roles in our achievements. This contradiction does not undermine the value of effort. Rather, it enriches our understanding of how life truly operates. The paradox here sings a soft tune, a melody of humility, urging us to recognize that our knowledge is often provisional, and that the beauty of learning lies in its endless unfolding. In art and literature, the lullaby of paradox is a recurring theme. A poet might write that silence is deafening, capturing in a few words the profound truth that the absence of sound can be as powerful and evocative as a symphony. Similarly, a novelist might describe a character who is both strong and vulnerable, embodying the very essence of human complexity. These creative expressions do more than play with words. They invite us to see the world in layers, where each seemingly contradictory detail contributes to a richer, more nuanced whole. The contradictions in these works are not errors to be fixed, but deliberate choices that echo the unpredictable rhythms of life itself. Science, too, is not immune to the gentle song of paradox. The discoveries of quantum physics have revealed a universe where particles exist in states that challenge our classical notions of certainty, where observation can alter reality, and where the act of measurement is as mysterious as it is fundamental. These scientific paradoxes, while perplexing at first, offer a kind of beauty that lies in their defiance of conventional logic. They remind us that the fabric of the cosmos is woven with threads of unpredictability, and that even in the most rigorous fields of inquiry, there remains an ever-present space for mystery and wonder. On a personal level, the lullaby of paradox encourages us to embrace the full spectrum of our emotions. We are beings capable of experiencing joy and sorrow simultaneously, of holding hope and despair in our hearts at the same time. This complexity is what makes us profoundly human. When we allow ourselves to dwell in the space of paradox, we find that our vulnerabilities and strengths are intertwined in ways that no simple explanation can capture. It is in these moments of internal contradiction that we learn to be resilient, accepting that our journey is not defined by a single, unchanging narrative, but by the evolving tapestry of our experiences. The lullaby of paradox, then, is not a call to abandon the pursuit of understanding, but an invitation to appreciate that some mysteries are meant to remain open-ended. It teaches us that in the interplay between what is known and what remains uncertain, there is a serene beauty, a quiet power that offers solace amidst life's complexities. This lullaby does not demand that we resolve every contradiction. Instead, it gently coaxes us to find peace in the ambiguity, to recognize that the richness of life often lies in its very unresolved nature. So, as you listen to the soft, recurring notes of this paradoxical melody, allow yourself to be comforted by the idea that uncertainty is not a void to be feared, but a canvas on which the art of living is painted. In the echoes of contradiction, in the gentle clash of opposites, there is an invitation to grow, to learn, and to celebrate the intricate dance between clarity and mystery. The lullaby of paradox sings of a truth that is both elusive and liberating, a reminder that even when answers are out of reach, the beauty of questioning can lead us to a deeper, more profound understanding of life itself. Journey into the unexplained is an invitation to step off the well-trodden path and wander into the liminal spaces where mystery and wonder dwell. In those quiet moments when our daily routines fade into the background, we are left with the pure, unadorned sensation of curiosity, a feeling that beckons us to explore questions that defy easy answers. Imagine yourself setting out on a solitary walk as twilight falls, the sky painted with the deep blues and purples of approaching night. The familiar landmarks seem to dissolve into silhouettes, and every sound, a distant bark, the rustle of leaves, the soft hum of life, whispers secrets about realms that lie just beyond our grasp. As you journey, you begin to notice subtle clues that hint at something more than the sum of ordinary events. A sudden gust of wind stirs fallen leaves into a chaotic dance, as if nature itself were choreographing a ballet of unpredictability. You pass by a quiet park where the interplay of shadow and light on the pavement creates patterns that feel almost intentional, as if the universe were leaving cryptic messages in the geometry of everyday objects. These moments, though fleeting, kindle a sense of awe that there is an entire world hidden in plain sight, a world where the unexplained is not an anomaly, but a fundamental aspect of existence. The allure of the unexplained has captivated human minds for millennia. Ancient cultures built monuments and told stories to honor the mysteries of the natural world, the stars, the winds, the cycles of day and night, all seen as manifestations of forces greater than themselves. Today we continue that quest through modern science and art, yet many phenomena still elude definitive explanation. Whether it is the strange behavior of subatomic particles, the unaccountable synchronicities in our lives, or the inexplicable moments of déjà vu that catch us off guard, these mysteries remind us that not all questions are meant to be answered fully. They serve as gentle nudges that encourage us to remain curious and humble in the face of an ever-changing cosmos. There is a liberating beauty in embracing the uncertainty that accompanies the unexplained. When we let go of the need to have all the answers, we open ourselves to a realm of endless possibility. The unexplained becomes a canvas for creativity, a space where our imaginations can soar unfettered by the constraints of conventional logic. Just as a jazz musician finds magic in the spontaneous improvisation of a solo, we too can experience a kind of freedom in accepting that life is rich with phenomena that defy neat categorization. Each unanticipated twist in our day, a stray moment of serendipity, a random encounter that sparks unexpected insight, becomes a precious reminder that the beauty of life often lies in its unpredictability. This journey into the unexplained is not merely about exploring external mysteries, but also about venturing into the depths of our inner landscapes. Our minds, filled with memories, dreams, and unanswered questions, are themselves realms of enigma. There are thoughts and feelings that arise without clear cause, moments when our intuition seems to tap into a source of knowledge beyond the rational. Embracing these inner mysteries can lead to profound self-discovery as we learn to navigate the terrain of our emotions and perceptions with openness and compassion. In doing so, we recognize that the unexplained is not something to be feared, but a vital part of our human experience, an ever-present invitation to grow, reflect, and ultimately to understand that not everything must be resolved to be deeply meaningful. As you continue on your journey, consider the role of art, literature, and science in illuminating the unexplained. A painter might capture the swirling ambiguity of a stormy sky, while a writer may weave narratives that blur the lines between reality and dream. Scientists, too, venture into the unknown with experiments that often raise more questions than they answer, each discovery peeling back another layer of the mystery rather than closing the book on it. These endeavors remind us that the quest for understanding is an ongoing dialogue, a conversation with the universe that is as much about appreciating its infinite complexity as it is about uncovering its secrets. In the end, the journey into the unexplained is a celebration of both mystery and possibility. It asks us to relinquish the comforting certainty of closed cases and to revel instead in the open-ended adventure of inquiry. It is a call to find beauty in the gaps of our knowledge, to see in every unanswered question a chance to expand our horizons. As you wander through life's less charted territories, allow yourself to be guided by the wonder of not knowing, a serene, liberating state that transforms uncertainty into a source of continual inspiration. In embracing the unexplained, you discover that every step into the unknown is itself a journey, a pathway to deeper insight, richer creativity, and an appreciation for the quiet, persistent mystery that makes our lives so wonderfully, irrevocably human. The mystery of irony is a multifaceted enigma, a subtle dance of words and meaning that both conceals and reveals the truth in unexpected ways. Irony, at its core, is the art of saying one thing while meaning another, a playful twist that exposes the gap between appearance and reality. It is as if language itself winks at us, inviting us to look deeper, to peel away the surface of literal meaning, and discover a hidden layer where contradictions coexist in a delicate balance. In this mysterious realm, humor and criticism often intertwine, challenging our assumptions and compelling us to re-examine our beliefs. Imagine a conversation where a friend remarks on a rainy day by saying, "What a beautiful day," a statement that, on the surface, contradicts the dismal weather, yet hints at a deeper appreciation for the comfort of a shared moment or the poetic quality of gloom. This is irony in action, a statement that transcends mere literal description, resonating with the complexity of our emotions and experiences. In irony, the unexpected becomes the norm, and what seems absurd at first glance often holds profound truth. The power of irony lies in its ability to subvert expectations. It forces us to acknowledge that reality is rarely as straightforward as it appears. Consider how irony operates in literature and art. A novelist may construct a narrative that leads the reader to anticipate a conventional ending, only to deliver a conclusion that defies expectations, a twist that recontextualizes everything that has come before. This kind of irony does more than entertain. It invites reflection on the unpredictable nature of life, where every moment contains the seed of its own reversal. In doing so, irony becomes a mirror, reflecting back the intricacies of human existence and the paradoxes that define it. In the realm of social commentary, irony serves as a subtle yet potent tool for critique. Politicians and satirists often employ irony to expose contradictions in power, to highlight the dissonance between public statements and private actions. When a leader proclaims honesty while engaging in deceit, irony reveals the gap between words and deeds, prompting us to question not only the integrity of the speaker, but also the broader systems that allow such discrepancies to persist. In this way, irony is both a shield and a sword, a means of protecting our sensibilities while also challenging the status quo. Yet, the mystery of irony is not confined to language or literature. It also resides in the realm of personal experience. Our lives are replete with moments where irony unexpectedly emerges, a chance encounter that turns out to be more significant than we ever imagined, a plan that unravels only to reveal a hidden opportunity, or a joke that, despite its surface simplicity, carries a deeper, often bittersweet truth. These experiences remind us that irony is woven into the fabric of our everyday existence. It teaches us that life is not merely a series of predictable events, but a rich tapestry of surprises, where meaning is often found in the interplay between what is said and what is left unsaid. Moreover, embracing the mystery of irony can be a liberating act. In a world that often demands absolute clarity and straightforward answers, irony offers us a reprieve, a space where ambiguity is not a failure, but a form of art. It allows us to live with the understanding that not every question has a clear answer, and that sometimes the beauty of our experiences lies in their inherent contradictions. When we accept irony, we learn to appreciate the complexity of our thoughts and emotions, recognizing that the same word or gesture can carry multiple layers of meaning depending on the context. Irony also challenges our need for control, urging us to confront the uncertainties that underpin our lives. It is a reminder that even when we strive for precision and order, there is always room for the unexpected, a twist that turns our best-laid plans on their head. In this sense, irony becomes a kind of philosophical meditation, a way to acknowledge that life, with all its twists and turns, is as unpredictable as it is profound. The mystery of irony, then, is not something to be solved or pinned down. It is an open-ended invitation to explore the nuanced relationship between language, thought, and reality. As you ponder the mystery of irony, allow yourself to be drawn into its subtle, multifarious cadence. Listen to the echoes of words that mean more than they seem, and consider that the contradictions they reveal are not flaws, but windows into a deeper truth. In the interplay between what is said and what is meant, between the literal and the figurative, there lies a serene beauty, a gentle reminder that life's complexity is what makes it so endlessly fascinating. In this dance of contradictions, irony teaches us to be both critical and compassionate, to question rigid certainties while embracing the playful ambiguity of existence. It is a call to see the world not in black and white, but in shades of gray, where every nuance has its own story. And perhaps that is the ultimate mystery of irony, in its very ability to confound our expectations. It opens our eyes to the rich, multifaceted tapestry of life, inviting us to listen, reflect, and ultimately find serenity in the beautifully unresolved. The meditative dance of dissonance is a journey into the quiet interplay between conflict and calm, a slow, rhythmic movement where contradictions and contrasts blend into a subtle, reflective harmony. In these moments, the clashing notes of our thoughts and emotions do not create chaos, but instead weave together a tapestry of meaning that is as enriching as it is mysterious. Imagine sitting in a softly lit room at twilight, when the rigid boundaries of day have begun to dissolve. Outside, the sky shifts from the fading warmth of sunset to the cool embrace of early night, and the air carries a gentle hush. In that space, you notice that nothing is perfectly in sync. The rustling leaves, the distant hum of a car passing by, even your own breathing, all seem to exist in a state of delicate imbalance. Yet this very imbalance forms a pattern, a meditative dance of dissonance that invites you to pause and simply be present with the interplay of light and shadow. This dance is not one of harsh conflict, but rather a subtle conversation between opposing forces. It is like the music of a master composer who uses discordant chords to set up tension, only to resolve them into a soothing melody that lingers long after the final note. In our lives, we encounter such dissonance every day, the feeling of joy intertwined with a hint of sadness, the simultaneous pull of longing and contentment, the uncertainty that accompanies even our most confident beliefs. These contradictions, rather than being sources of pain, are gentle teachers. They remind us that our inner world is complex and layered, and that accepting this complexity can lead to a profound sense of peace. In the realm of creativity, dissonance plays a pivotal role. Artists and writers often thrive on the tension between order and chaos, harnessing conflicting ideas to produce works that resonate on multiple levels. Consider a painter who deliberately uses contrasting colors and bold, unexpected brushstrokes. At first, these choices may seem jarring, but upon closer inspection, they reveal hidden depths and evoke powerful emotions. Similarly, a writer might craft a narrative that flirts with paradox, characters who are both heroic and flawed, plots that twist and turn in ways that defy straightforward logic. In these instances, the beauty lies not in the avoidance of contradiction, but in its thoughtful incorporation, allowing the work to speak to the multifaceted nature of reality. Science, too, offers us a window into the beauty of dissonance. Modern physics, with its strange phenomena like wave-particle duality and quantum uncertainty, shows that the universe itself is a dance of competing possibilities. What appears to be a solid, predictable reality is, at its core, a complex web of probabilities and interactions, a cosmic performance where even the most fundamental particles behave in ways that challenge our classical expectations. This scientific dissonance does not undermine our understanding. Instead, it enriches it by revealing that there is beauty in complexity, and that the search for truth is an ever-evolving process. On a personal level, embracing the dance of dissonance means allowing ourselves to sit with our uncertainties and contradictions. Instead of forcing our experiences into neatly labeled boxes, we can learn to appreciate the fluidity of our emotions and the impermanence of our thoughts. In moments of introspection, you might find that what initially felt like conflicting impulses gradually settle into a calm recognition that life, in all its messiness, has its own kind of order. This quiet acceptance transforms dissonance into a meditative practice, a way of being that acknowledges the inherent beauty of life's imperfections. The meditative dance of dissonance is also a reminder of the importance of balance. Just as a musical composition requires both tension and release to create a moving piece, our inner harmony is achieved through the interplay of opposing forces. When we accept that our lives are not defined solely by clear-cut answers or unwavering certainties, we open ourselves up to a richer, more vibrant experience. The space where our doubts and certainties meet is fertile ground for growth, creativity, and the kind of inner peace that comes from embracing the full spectrum of our human experience. In this dance, every discordant note has its place, a vital part of a larger symphony that defies simple explanation. As you navigate the complexities of your day, consider the ways in which moments of conflict and contradiction can lead to unexpected insights. Whether you're reflecting during a quiet moment of solitude, engaging in a deep conversation, or even facing a personal challenge, remember that dissonance is not something to be feared. It is an invitation to explore, to question, and ultimately, to find serenity in the beautiful complexity of life. So, let yourself be carried by the meditative rhythm of dissonance, a slow, unfolding dance where every clash and every resolution contributes to the profound, ever-changing melody of your existence. In the interplay of opposites, find your balance and discover that true peace often emerges not from eliminating conflict, but from embracing it as a natural, integral part of your journey. The Twilight of Reason is a contemplative passage where the rigid light of pure logic gradually softens into the gentle hues of uncertainty, a quiet period when the certainties of day yield to the ambiguous beauty of night. In this state, our insistence on precise answers begins to wane, and we are invited to accept that sometimes wisdom lies not in clear-cut conclusions, but in the questions themselves. It is a time when reason, which has long guided our understanding, steps aside to allow intuition, emotion, and even the mysteries of life to speak. Imagine standing on a hill at dusk as the sun dips below the horizon. The once crisp outlines of the world blur into shadows and soft gradients of color. In that delicate transition, there is a sense of loss. The day's clarity fades, but also a promise. The darkness does not signal an end, but the beginning of a new kind of light, one that is subtle and reflective. This is the twilight of reason, a time when the exactness of our logical minds relaxes, making room for the vagueness of wonder. In this interplay, we find that our human experience is enriched not only by certainty, but also by the silent acceptance of what we cannot fully explain. Historically, reason has been celebrated as the foundation of enlightenment and progress. The great thinkers of the Enlightenment, the rigor of the scientific method, and the logical structures of philosophy all promised a world where truth could be pinned down like a star in the night sky. Yet, as our collective knowledge has deepened, we have come to recognize that there are limits to what pure logic can capture. Quantum physics, for example, reveals a universe where outcomes are probabilistic rather than deterministic, and where the act of observation itself can change the nature of reality. This realization that even the most carefully constructed models of reality contain an element of unpredictability illustrates the twilight of reason, the acknowledgement that the world, in its vast complexity, resists complete explanation. On a personal level, the twilight of reason invites us to embrace our own uncertainties. There are moments when we cling to fixed ideas about who we are and what we believe, only to be gently reminded by life's unexpected twists that our understanding is ever evolving. Consider a time when you were sure of your path, only to find that unforeseen events led you to a different, perhaps even better, direction. In these moments, the rigid structure of reason gives way to a more fluid, adaptive approach to life, one that values flexibility over rigid dogma and sees every unexpected turn as an opportunity for growth rather than a failure of logic. This state of mind can be deeply liberating. When we release ourselves from the burden of having all the answers, we allow room for creativity and innovation. Many of the world's greatest artistic and scientific breakthroughs have emerged precisely because someone was willing to question established norms and venture into the unknown. The twilight of reason, then, is not a descent into chaos or irrationality. It is an invitation to explore the spaces between certainty and doubt. It teaches us that while reason is a powerful tool, it is not infallible, and that our true strength often lies in our willingness to live with uncertainty. Socially and politically, the twilight of reason offers an alternative to the polarized debates that often dominate public discourse. When discussions are framed solely in black and white terms, nuance is lost and dialogue becomes stifled. By acknowledging the twilight, the space where multiple perspectives coexist, we open the door to more empathetic conversations. In this softer light, differing opinions are not threats to be eliminated, but valuable contributions to a richer, more dynamic conversation about our collective future. In literature and art, the twilight of reason has long been a fertile ground for exploration. Poets and novelists often dwell in the spaces where reason gives way to intuition, crafting works that reflect the contradictions and complexities of the human heart. A well-loved poem might evoke the bittersweet realization that beauty and sorrow can exist side by side, and a novel might leave its readers with more questions than answers, a deliberate choice to mirror life's intrinsic uncertainty. Such works remind us that the quest for truth is as much about the journey as it is about the destination, and that sometimes the most profound insights come from contemplating what remains unexplained. Ultimately, the twilight of reason is both a celebration and an acceptance, a gentle nod to the idea that while logic has its place, not every aspect of our existence can be neatly categorized or resolved. It is a state where the boundaries between what we know and what we feel begin to blur, creating a harmonious interplay that enriches our experience of the world. In this twilight, we learn that wisdom is not measured solely by the clarity of our answers, but by the openness with which we engage the mysteries of life. So, as you stand at the edge of certainty and let the soft shadows of doubt envelop you, remember that the twilight of reason is not a sign of defeat, but a doorway to deeper insight. Embrace this gentle merging of logic and mystery, and you may find that in the quiet spaces between definitive answers lie the seeds of creativity, empathy, and a more profound understanding of the ever-changing tapestry of life. Enchantment of Ambiguity is a celebration of the rich, mysterious space where meaning is not fixed, but fluid, an open invitation to explore, question, and revel in the beauty of multiple interpretations. In our everyday lives, we are often presented with situations, ideas, and even conversations that do not come with a clear-cut, one-size-fits-all answer. Rather than feeling frustrated by the lack of certainty, the enchantment of ambiguity encourages us to appreciate the hidden layers and the subtle interplay between what is said and what is meant. Imagine a conversation where a friend tells you everything happens for a reason. At first glance, this might seem like a simple assertion, yet it opens up a spectrum of interpretations. Is it a comforting thought, a challenge to find deeper meaning in everyday events, or a gentle reminder that not every event can be neatly explained? Ambiguity in such expressions gives us room to reflect and to allow our personal experiences and emotions to shape our understanding. It transforms language into an art form, where words act as portals to multiple possible worlds rather than gateways to a single, definitive truth. In literature and art, ambiguity is often the secret ingredient that invites readers and viewers to become active participants in creating meaning. A novel might present a character whose motives are only partially revealed, leaving it to the reader to decide whether the character is driven by noble intentions or darker impulses. A painting might mix light and shadow in a way that prevents a single interpretation, allowing each observer to see something unique within the same canvas. In both cases, the beauty lies not in offering a clear answer, but in the dialogue between the work and the audience. Each person's perspective adding another vibrant layer to the tapestry of interpretation. This state of indeterminacy is not limited to creative expressions. It is also a part of our everyday experience. Think about the many moments when you've experienced something that defies a straightforward explanation. A sudden burst of emotion when a familiar song plays, a fleeting feeling of déjà vu, or an unexpected twist in a conversation that leaves you pondering long after it has ended. These moments, though wrapped in uncertainty, are not empty voids, but rather rich experiences that speak to the complexity of life. In embracing ambiguity, we learn that there is beauty in the lack of immediate clarity, and that sometimes the journey of interpretation is far more enriching than the destination of a single, neat conclusion. Ambiguity also challenges our conventional desire for absolute answers. In a world driven by data, statistics, and definitive statements, ambiguous ideas offer a refreshing counterpoint. They remind us that not every question needs a final answer, and that the tension between certainty and doubt can be a fertile ground for creativity and intellectual growth. When we allow ourselves to dwell in this liminal space, we open up the possibility of new insights and innovative solutions that rigid, binary thinking might have otherwise obscured. Moreover, the enchantment of ambiguity encourages us to be more tolerant and open-minded. When we recognize that our interpretations are shaped by our experiences, cultural backgrounds, and personal biases, we become more willing to listen to others' perspectives, even when they differ sharply from our own. This openness not only enriches our understanding, but also fosters empathy and connection, as we realize that the diversity of thought is not a weakness, but a strength that can lead to more dynamic and inclusive conversations. In the realm of decision-making, embracing ambiguity can be a powerful tool. Instead of feeling paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong choice, we can learn to navigate uncertainty with a sense of curiosity and possibility. Accepting that life rarely offers perfect information allows us to make decisions that are both informed and flexible, decisions that can adapt as new information emerges. This mindset not only reduces anxiety, but also opens the door to personal growth, as we learn to see setbacks and unexpected outcomes as opportunities to learn and evolve. Philosophers have long pondered the role of ambiguity in our understanding of truth. Some argue that truth itself is not a fixed destination, but an ever-shifting landscape that we approach asymptotically, a perspective that finds its beauty precisely in its incompleteness. In this view, the enchantment of ambiguity lies in its ability to capture the complexity of existence. It is a reminder that our world is layered with meaning, and that each layer, when examined closely, reveals new depths and connections. Ultimately, the enchantment of ambiguity invites us to see life as an ongoing conversation with the unknown. It teaches us that every unanswered question, every hint of uncertainty, is not a gap to be filled immediately, but a space to be explored. As we learn to appreciate the multifaceted nature of reality, we begin to understand that clarity often emerges not from eliminating ambiguity, but from engaging with it, allowing our minds to dance freely between different possibilities. So, as you navigate your day, take a moment to notice the ambiguous spaces that surround you. Listen to the double meanings in a piece of music. Savor the unresolved tension in a work of art, and welcome the uncertainty that arises in your own thoughts and feelings. In doing so, you may find that the enchantment of ambiguity offers not only a richer understanding of the world, but also a deeper, more compassionate way of engaging with life itself, a reminder that sometimes the beauty of existence lies in the very mystery of not knowing. Silence of incongruity is the quiet space where what we expect to fit together instead leaves us with a gentle, reflective pause, a moment when differences and contradictions converge into a subtle, meditative stillness. It is in that pause that the mind, unburdened by the need for immediate clarity, begins to listen more deeply to both the unsaid and the unexpected. This silence is not emptiness. Rather, it is a dynamic canvas on which multiple perspectives, emotions, and ideas are free to mingle without the pressure to resolve every conflict. Imagine entering a room where the familiar hum of daily life is momentarily suspended. The usual clamor, the ticking of the clock, the murmur of conversation, even the ambient noise of a busy street fades into the background. In this quiet, a new sound emerges, the soft resonance of incongruity. Perhaps it is the sight of a modern sculpture placed against a backdrop of ancient architecture, or the experience of hearing a piece of music that shifts unexpectedly from soothing harmonies to a few dissonant notes. Rather than jarring you, these moments of contrast invite reflection. They remind you that not every element of our world is meant to align perfectly. Sometimes, beauty lies in the tension between what we expect and what actually is. In art, the deliberate use of conflicting elements, sharp lines against gentle curves, bold colors set against muted tones, creates a visual dialogue that engages the viewer. The painter's choice to leave areas intentionally ambiguous challenges us to complete the picture in our own minds. Similarly, in literature, an author might weave together themes that seem at odds, a narrative that juxtaposes hope with despair, or passion with resignation. In these works, the silence that follows an unresolved conflict is where the reader's imagination takes flight, filling in gaps with personal insight and emotion. The silence of incongruity thus becomes a powerful tool for engagement, turning passive observation into an active, creative process. This meditative silence also pervades our inner lives. We often find that our thoughts and feelings do not always march in perfect step. At times, we may feel a mix of emotions, a sense of joy tinged with melancholy, confidence shadowed by self-doubt. When we sit quietly with these conflicting feelings, without the rush to label or dismiss them, we open ourselves to a richer understanding of who we are. In that internal quiet, the mind learns to appreciate complexity rather than reject it, discovering that the interplay of opposites can be both a source of strength and a wellspring of creativity. In our conversations and relationships too, incongruity can play a transformative role. When ideas clash, or when we encounter opinions that differ radically from our own, the initial reaction might be discomfort or even resistance. Yet, if we allow a moment of silence to settle over the exchange, we create the space for empathy and genuine dialogue. That pause, the silence of incongruity, can enable us to move beyond our instinct to defend and instead listen with an open heart. In this way, the quiet that follows disagreement becomes a bridge, linking us together through our shared capacity to acknowledge uncertainty and to honor the diversity of thought. Moreover, embracing the silence of incongruity has a liberating effect on creativity and problem solving. In a world obsessed with efficiency and clear answers, the willingness to dwell in ambiguous spaces allows for unexpected insights to emerge. When we stop forcing a resolution and instead savor the quiet gap between conflicting ideas, we might find that the solution we seek comes not from eliminating disparity, but from synthesizing it. It is in this gentle collision of disparate elements that innovation is born, and new paths of thought are illuminated. Ultimately, the silence of incongruity teaches us that life is not a puzzle to be solved by fitting every piece neatly together. Rather, it is a tapestry woven from threads of contradiction and variance, each strand contributing its own unique texture to the whole. The quiet that arises when things do not perfectly align is not a sign of disorder, but a subtle reminder that our world is full of wonder, precisely because it is unpredictable and multifaceted. So, as you go about your day, take a moment to pause when you encounter the unexpected. Listen to the silence that follows a surprising remark, or gaze at a scene where modern elements intersect with the ancient. In those moments, allow yourself to appreciate the beauty of not knowing, and in that quiet acceptance, discover that there is profound strength in embracing life's inherent contradictions. The silence of incongruity, in its own soft, unassuming way, invites you to explore, to reflect, and ultimately, to find peace in the delicious uncertainty that colors every moment of existence. The Unraveling of Logic is a journey into the gradual loosening of the rigid structures that once defined our understanding, a slow, almost imperceptible disintegration of certainty that invites us to question what we once held as irrefutable truth. In a world increasingly dominated by rapid information and emotional immediacy, logic, our steadfast guide in the pursuit of knowledge, seems to be coming apart at the seams, leaving behind a mosaic of half-formed ideas, fragmented evidence, and ever-shifting paradigms. Imagine a tapestry that was once woven with clear, straight threads of reason, each one interlacing perfectly with the next. Over time, these threads begin to fray, unraveling into strands that no longer follow a linear pattern. What was once a cohesive picture of understanding now appears as a collection of disparate, sometimes contradictory, images. In this disarray, the unraveling of logic is not simply the loss of order. It is the birth of a new kind of inquiry, one that recognizes the complexity and nuance of a world too vast to be contained by simple binary answers. Historically, logic has been celebrated as the hallmark of rational thought, the tool by which philosophers, scientists, and thinkers have illuminated the mysteries of the universe. From Aristotle's syllogisms to Newton's laws, reason has served as a beacon of clarity in the labyrinth of human experience. Yet today, as we navigate the complexities of modern life, we encounter challenges that defy neat categorization. The data deluge of the digital age, the pervasive influence of emotion in decision-making, and the blurring boundaries between fact and opinion all contribute to an environment where traditional logic struggles to keep pace. In our daily lives, the unraveling of logic is visible in the erosion of nuanced debate. Arguments that once demanded careful analysis now often give way to sound bites and polarized rhetoric. We find ourselves confronted with claims that are built not on meticulously weighed evidence, but on gut reactions and fleeting impressions. This shift undermines our ability to engage with ideas deeply, reducing complex issues to a series of oversimplified, sometimes misleading conclusions. The slow disintegration of logical reasoning becomes a mirror reflecting the cultural and political currents of our time, currents that favor immediacy and emotional resonance over deliberate, thoughtful analysis. At the same time, the unraveling of logic reveals a paradoxical opportunity. As our old frameworks of reason come apart, they create space for new, more integrative ways of thinking. When we let go of the insistence on rigid linear thought, we open ourselves to the possibility that truth may be multifaceted, dynamic, and even contradictory. Rather than viewing the collapse of traditional logic as a descent into chaos, we might see it as an invitation to explore complexity in all its forms. This is not to abandon reason altogether, but to expand it, to recognize that a single, unyielding approach cannot capture the full spectrum of human experience. In embracing a more fluid form of inquiry, we learn to appreciate that uncertainty and ambiguity can be as valuable as certainty in the pursuit of knowledge. The personal impact of this unraveling is profound. In our own lives, the loss of absolute logical certainties can feel both disconcerting and liberating. There is a certain comfort in knowing that not everything must be black and white, that our understanding of the world can evolve with new experiences and insights. This awareness encourages a kind of intellectual humility, a recognition that our models of reality are provisional, always subject to revision as we encounter new evidence or perspectives. Embracing this uncertainty can lead to a more adaptable, resilient mindset, one that is better equipped to handle the complexities and contradictions inherent in life. Artists, too, have long been fascinated by the decay of strict logic. In the realm of creative expression, the breakdown of conventional structures often gives rise to innovative forms of art and literature that capture the chaotic beauty of the human condition. A painter might intentionally disrupt classical composition with unexpected splashes of color, or a writer may weave narratives that intentionally defy straightforward interpretation. These creative acts reflect the same process of unraveling, a deliberate move away from formulaic order toward a more organic, experiential understanding of reality. Moreover, the unraveling of logic in our collective discourse challenges us to re-examine the way we share and validate ideas. In academic and public debates, the insistence on incontrovertible evidence sometimes stifles conversation and discourages the exploration of alternative viewpoints. When logic unravels, it invites a more open-ended dialogue, one that values diverse perspectives and sees every assertion as a tentative step in an ongoing journey rather than a final verdict. This shift can foster a culture of curiosity and collaboration, where the focus moves from winning arguments to deepening our understanding of complex issues. Ultimately, the unraveling of logic is a reminder that our search for truth is not a destination, but a continuous, evolving process. It teaches us that even as the old certainties fade, there is a profound beauty in the space where ideas collide, merge, and transform. In that space, we are called to cultivate not just the clarity of reason, but the courage to embrace ambiguity, the humility to acknowledge our limitations, and the creativity to forge new pathways toward understanding. So, as you reflect on the unraveling of logic, consider it not as a loss but as an invitation to question, to explore, and to grow. In this ever-shifting landscape, every fragment of doubt, every unexpected twist in thought, holds the potential to lead us to richer, more nuanced insights about ourselves and the world around us. The Reverie of Confusion is a gentle, inward journey, a moment when the clarity of our everyday thoughts softens into a haze of wonder, where uncertainty and fragmented ideas coexist in a delicate balance. It is a state where our minds, usually driven by the need for precise answers, allow themselves the luxury of wandering, reflecting, and even embracing the beautiful chaos of not knowing. Imagine sitting by a window at twilight. As the last rays of the sun fade away, you notice that the world outside no longer appears in the sharp, defined lines of daytime. Instead, shapes blur into silhouettes, and the familiar becomes mysteriously transformed. In that quiet interlude, your thoughts begin to drift, each idea a gentle ripple on the surface of your consciousness. There is no urgency to resolve these drifting thoughts. Instead, you simply observe them, much like watching clouds pass across the sky. This is the reverie of confusion, a soft, meditative state where the mind is free to explore the spaces between certainty and doubt. In our daily lives, we often celebrate the clarity of well-structured plans and definitive conclusions. We admire the power of logic and the efficiency of reason. Yet there are moments when the very structures we depend on begin to unravel. A problem that once had a clear solution now presents multiple, conflicting possibilities. A conversation that started with straightforward questions ends in a tangle of ambiguous feelings. It is in these moments of cognitive dissonance that confusion arises. However, rather than being a sign of failure or inadequacy, this confusion can be a fertile ground for creativity and introspection. Consider the creative process. Many artists, writers, and thinkers have spoken of moments when their best ideas emerged not from a place of complete clarity, but from a space of uncertainty. When a painter allows spontaneous splashes of color to intermingle on the canvas, or a writer lets thoughts meander into unexpected narrative turns, they capture a raw, unfiltered quality of human experience. The reverie of confusion is much like that creative spark. It opens the door to unexpected insights and new ways of seeing the world. This state of reverie invites us to accept that not all aspects of life can be immediately understood. In the realm of science, for instance, quantum physics challenges our classical understanding by showing that particles can exist in multiple states at once, defying the neat predictability of everyday experience. These scientific puzzles remind us that even the most rigorous methods of inquiry encounter mysteries that remain only partially illuminated. The same can be said for the intricacies of human emotion and memory, domains where our thoughts often wander, resist neat categorization, and reveal layers of complexity that defy simple explanation. On a personal level, embracing the reverie of confusion can be liberating. It offers a respite from the relentless demand for quick answers and neat solutions. When we allow ourselves to dwell in uncertainty, we invite a kind of intellectual humility, a recognition that our current understanding is only a stepping stone toward deeper insight. In that gentle pause, we learn to appreciate the process of questioning and the richness that emerges from considering multiple perspectives. It is in this quiet space of reflective confusion that we can confront our vulnerabilities, reassess our priorities, and grow in ways that a constant state of certainty might never allow. Moreover, this state of mind fosters empathy and connection. When we acknowledge that we, too, experience moments of confusion and uncertainty, we become more understanding of the struggles others face in their search for meaning. Sharing our own experiences of grappling with complex ideas can create bonds, reminding us that the human experience is marked by both clarity and mystery. This collective embrace of confusion transforms what might otherwise be a source of isolation into a shared journey, one where every unanswered question is an invitation to explore together. The reverie of confusion is not a call to abandon reason or to descend into chaos. Rather, it is an invitation to expand our cognitive landscape. It encourages us to blend the rigor of logic with the openness of intuition, to see the spaces between definitive answers as rich territories for growth. In this expanded space, creativity thrives, New ideas emerge from the interplay of uncertainty and insight, and our capacity for learning deepens. The confusion that once seemed disconcerting becomes a vital part of our journey toward a more nuanced understanding of the world. So, as you move through your day, consider taking a few quiet moments to sit with your own confusion. Allow your thoughts to wander without the pressure of immediate resolution. In that reflective pause, you might discover that the very act of questioning, of living in a state where not everything is clear, is itself a form of wisdom. The Reverie of Confusion, with its gentle, unhurried cadence, invites you to trust in the process of discovery, to see beauty in the interplay of uncertainty and clarity, and to embrace the rich, multifaceted tapestry of life. In that silent space, where logic meets its limits and mystery begins to unfold, you may find that the journey itself, marked by questions, doubts, and moments of unexpected insight, is far more meaningful than any definitive answer could ever be. The Haze of Absurdity is a contemplative exploration of the moments when the familiar logic of our everyday lives dissolves into an enigmatic fog, a state where the absurdity of existence emerges not as an outright rejection of reason, but as a gentle reminder of the unpredictable, often irrational tapestry that underlies our experience. In this haze, nothing is as clear as it once seemed, and yet, in its ambiguity, there is a strange, captivating beauty that invites us to pause, reflect, and ultimately, to embrace the chaos. Imagine waking up on a day that feels both ordinary and inexplicably strange. The sun rises, but its light is filtered through a veil of mist that softens the edges of everything you know. The routine sounds of the morning, the chirping of birds, the hum of distant traffic, seem to fade into a background murmur, as if the world itself is whispering secrets that defy conventional understanding. In these moments, the haze of absurdity descends, and the once solid ground of logic appears to waver, leaving us to wonder if the clear-cut distinctions between right and wrong, true and false, are merely constructs that crumble under the weight of life's inherent contradictions. This hazy state is not a call to abandon reason altogether, but rather an invitation to see beyond the rigid structures that usually guide our thinking. Like a painter who deliberately blurs the lines between colors to evoke emotion and mystery, the haze of absurdity encourages us to look at our lives with a sense of wonder. It is in this space that the absurd becomes art, a reflection of the unpredictable interplay between our hopes and our fears, our dreams and our disappointments. Here, the irrational does not serve as a barrier to understanding, but as a bridge to deeper insights about the human condition. In literature and philosophy, the concept of absurdity has long been a fertile ground for exploration. Think of the existential musings of Camus, who saw in the absurd a mirror for our own struggles to find meaning in an indifferent universe. In his view, the clash between our desire for order and the chaotic reality of existence creates a tension that is both unsettling and enlightening. This tension invites us to acknowledge that while our search for absolute clarity might be futile, the journey itself is rich with possibilities. The haze of absurdity, then, is not merely a state of confusion, it is a space where the quest for meaning takes on an almost poetic quality, where every question leads to further inquiry rather than definitive answers. On a personal level, encountering the haze of absurdity can be both disconcerting and liberating. There are times when the steady rhythm of our routines is disrupted by events that seem absurd in their improbability, a sudden, inexplicable coincidence, or a fleeting moment when everything appears to be both significant and utterly meaningless at once. In these moments, the structures we rely on begin to unravel, and we are left with a sense of uncertainty. Yet it is precisely in that uncertainty that we may discover a kind of freedom, a release from the relentless pressure to always have a clear, logical explanation. Embracing the haze allows us to accept that not every aspect of life can, or needs to, be neatly categorized. It reminds us that, sometimes, the beauty of existence lies in its unpredictability and its refusal to conform to our expectations. The haze of absurdity also plays a vital role in creativity. When the constraints of conventional logic fall away, the mind is free to wander into uncharted territories. Writers, artists, and thinkers often find that their most profound insights emerge from moments when the usual boundaries of thought dissolve into a dreamlike state. This creative process is akin to navigating a foggy landscape. While the path ahead may be uncertain, every step taken in that obscured space can lead to unexpected discoveries. In the midst of absurdity, our imagination is set free, allowing us to construct new narratives and explore ideas that might otherwise remain hidden. Moreover, the haze challenges our need for certainty in our social and political lives. In an era where polarized opinions and soundbite debates dominate public discourse, the gentle murmur of absurdity can serve as a reminder of the value of nuance. It encourages us to listen carefully to differing perspectives, to appreciate that the truth is often multifaceted rather than binary. By accepting that not everything is black or white, we open ourselves to a more inclusive and reflective dialogue, one where the messy, irrational parts of our experience are not dismissed, but considered as integral to the broader picture. Ultimately, the haze of absurdity invites us to live with a sense of curiosity and humility. It teaches us that while reason is a powerful tool, it is not infallible, and that in the spaces where logic falters, there is an opportunity to reimagine, to innovate, and to connect with the deeper, often unspoken truths of our lives. In this gentle murkiness, we are encouraged to let go of our fixation on certainty and to revel in the mystery that makes life so richly unpredictable. So, as you move through your day, allow yourself to linger in the haze from time to time. Notice the moments when things don't quite add up, and instead of rushing to dispel the confusion, sit with it. Listen to the quiet music that arises from the interplay of order and chaos. In that reflective pause, you may find that the unraveling of logic is not a sign of decay, but a prelude to new ways of seeing, a subtle, ongoing invitation to embrace the fullness of life with all its delightful, perplexing contradictions. Embracing the unpredictable is an invitation to dance with the unknown, a call to welcome the twists and turns of life with open arms rather than a clenched grip on what we expect. In a world that often promises stability and routine, unpredictability can feel unsettling, even chaotic. Yet it is precisely in those unexpected moments that the richness of our experience unfolds, inviting us to discover new possibilities and redefine our own boundaries. Imagine a day when the sky suddenly shifts its hue from the clear blue of a familiar morning to an unexpected canvas of swirling grays and pinks at dawn. The very air seems charged with anticipation, as if nature itself were preparing to unveil a secret. In such moments, the predictable gives way to a spontaneous beauty, a reminder that every day holds the potential to surprise us. Embracing the unpredictable means learning to appreciate that life's greatest gifts often come wrapped in uncertainty, and that by letting go of rigid plans, we create space for creativity and growth. In our personal lives, we often set out with a detailed roadmap, planning every step with the assurance that our efforts will lead to a clear destination. But life, in its unpredictable wisdom, frequently presents detours that we never anticipated. A sudden change in circumstances, a job loss, an unexpected encounter, a new opportunity can feel like a disruption at first. Yet these very interruptions offer a chance to re-examine our priorities, to shed outdated expectations, and to explore paths that might lead to unforeseen fulfillment. By embracing these detours, instead of resisting them, we allow ourselves to adapt and evolve, recognizing that the journey itself holds more value than any predetermined endpoint. Embracing the unpredictable is also about finding comfort in the spaces between certainty and doubt. When we relinquish the need to control every outcome, we begin to see that uncertainty can be a wellspring of strength rather than a source of anxiety. In those quiet moments when our minds wander without a set agenda, new ideas emerge, ideas that are not confined by the limitations of our earlier assumptions. It is in this mental freedom that innovation is born, when we allow ourselves to be curious about where the unplanned might lead. We tap into a creative energy that can transform challenges into opportunities. Consider the world of art and literature, where unpredictability is celebrated as a vital source of inspiration. A painter might deliberately introduce an unexpected splash of color into an otherwise harmonious composition, creating a focal point that draws the eye and invites interpretation. Similarly, a writer may craft a narrative that takes sudden turns, forcing the reader to rethink what they assumed to be true. These artistic choices mirror the broader human experience, reminding us that the beauty of life often lies not in its neat conclusions, but in the vibrant tapestry woven from moments of spontaneity and surprise. This embracing of the unpredictable also reshapes our relationships. When we let go of the expectation that others must always act in a certain way or deliver the comfort of familiarity, we open ourselves up to deeper, more authentic connections. Instead of clinging to predictable patterns, we learn to appreciate the unexpected quirks and unique qualities in those around us. The shared experiences of uncertainty, be it a spontaneous adventure or a heartfelt conversation that veers off the expected course, can forge bonds that are resilient and transformative. In these encounters, unpredictability becomes not a barrier, but a bridge, connecting us through our mutual willingness to face life's uncertainties together. Moreover, embracing the unpredictable cultivates a sense of mindfulness, a state of being present with each moment as it unfolds, without the distraction of rigid expectations. When we fully immerse ourselves in the here and now, we begin to see that every moment is imbued with the potential for change. The shifting light of a sunset, the unpredictable laughter during a quiet meal, the sudden spark of insight in an otherwise ordinary day, all of these instances become opportunities to practice acceptance. They remind us that life is a continuous flow of experiences, each one fleeting yet significant in its own right. In the realms of science and discovery, the unpredictable has always been a driving force for innovation. From the serendipitous observations that lead to groundbreaking inventions, to the unexpected experimental results that challenge established theories, the unpredictable pushes the boundaries of our knowledge. It compels scientists to venture beyond conventional frameworks and to consider possibilities that once seemed unimaginable. In this light, unpredictability is not an obstacle but a catalyst, a reminder that every anomaly or unexpected finding is an invitation to expand our understanding and to refine our questions. Ultimately, embracing the unpredictable is a philosophy that invites us to live with a sense of wonder and openness. It encourages us to release our grip on certainty and to find beauty in the unknown, in the messy, uncharted territories where life's surprises dwell. In doing so, we learn that our greatest strength lies not in our ability to predict the future, but in our capacity to adapt, to learn, and to find meaning in every unexpected moment. So, as you journey through your day, allow yourself to be carried by the gentle current of unpredictability. Notice the unexpected turns, the subtle shifts in mood, and the spontaneous sparks of inspiration that arise without warning. In that mindful embrace, you may discover that life's true magic is found not in the certainty of planned outcomes, but in the unfolding mystery of each moment, a living, breathing canvas where every unpredictable stroke contributes to the masterpiece of your existence. The quiet echo of self-doubt is a soft, persistent murmur in the corridors of our mind, a reminder that even in our moments of strength, the whisper of uncertainty can be both a challenge and an invitation to grow. It is the sound that lingers when the noise of external expectations fades, leaving us with the introspective resonance of our own questions, vulnerabilities, and ultimately, our potential for transformation. Imagine yourself in a quiet space at the end of a long day. The hustle of the world has dimmed, and in that stillness, you begin to notice the subtle beats of your own thoughts. There, in the silence, the echo of self-doubt softly resounds. A question, am I enough? Or, do I truly understand who I am? These are not declarations of weakness, but rather the delicate signals of a mind that is aware, reflective, and open to learning. In this quiet echo, we find both discomfort and the seed of profound insight. Self-doubt, when it first arises, can feel like a weight pressing upon us, a challenge to our achievements, our abilities, and our self-worth. Yet, if we pause and listen carefully, we discover that this doubt is not an enemy to be vanquished, but a guide that points us toward deeper self-understanding. It prompts us to re-examine our beliefs, to ask if our ambitions are truly aligned with our inner values, and to consider whether the voices we hear are our own or echoes of external expectations. In this light, self-doubt transforms from a paralyzing whisper into a catalyst for reflection and growth. Throughout our lives, the quiet echo of self-doubt has been a companion to our greatest achievements. Many a visionary, artist, or scientist has wrestled with the nagging uncertainty that their work might never be enough, or that their ideas could be flawed. Yet it is through confronting these inner murmurs that they have pushed boundaries and unlocked creativity. The very act of questioning, of admitting that we do not have all the answers, opens the door to a richer, more resilient understanding of ourselves. When we embrace our doubts rather than fight them, we allow our minds to expand, to explore alternative perspectives, and to discover new paths that we might have otherwise overlooked. This internal dialogue, though sometimes uncomfortable, is part of the intricate tapestry of our humanity. It teaches us humility, reminding us that perfection is an illusion, and that true wisdom lies in the willingness to learn from our mistakes. Every time self-doubt arises, it offers us the chance to recalibrate our internal compass, ensuring that our actions remain in tune with our authentic selves. In this process, self-doubt becomes not a barrier to success, but a gentle nudge that encourages introspection resilience, and ultimately, self-improvement. In our relationships too, the echo of self-doubt plays a significant role. When we share our vulnerabilities with trusted friends or loved ones, we often find that our uncertainties are mirrored by theirs. This shared experience of doubt can create a profound connection, allowing us to see that our struggles are not unique, but part of a universal human condition. In these moments, our doubts dissolve into empathy and mutual support, a reminder that every individual carries their own quiet echoes of uncertainty, and that by acknowledging them, we pave the way for genuine understanding and compassion. Even in our professional lives, self-doubt can serve as a quiet motivator. It pushes us to refine our skills, to seek feedback, and to remain open to new ideas. Rather than settling into complacency, we are driven by the desire to prove, not to others, but to ourselves, that we are capable of growth and learning. This ongoing pursuit of excellence is fueled by the gentle, persistent reminder that there is always room for improvement, a sentiment that, while it may spark initial discomfort, ultimately leads to innovation and progress. The quiet echo of self-doubt also has a creative dimension. It is in the spaces between certainty and ambiguity that our most imaginative ideas are born. When we allow our minds to wander without the constraints of absolute confidence, we enter a state of creative play. In that free, unstructured space, ideas mingle, evolve, and sometimes take on surprising forms. Artists, writers, and thinkers often describe this state as a kind of mental twilight, where the boundaries of the known blur into the possibilities of the unknown. It is here, amid the soft hum of uncertainty, that new forms of expression emerge, each one a testament to the transformative power of embracing rather than suppressing self-doubt. Ultimately, the quiet echo of self-doubt is a reminder that life is not about achieving flawless certainty, but about continuously engaging with our inner complexities. It teaches us that our doubts are not marks of inadequacy, but signals of our deep engagement with the world and our own evolving nature. By listening to this echo, we learn to navigate the delicate balance between confidence and humility, between the desire to achieve and the willingness to learn. So, as you journey through your day, take a moment to listen to the soft murmur of your inner voice. Embrace the uncertainty it carries, for in that quiet echo, you may find the gentle guidance needed to propel you toward growth, creativity, and a more profound understanding of who you truly are. In the end, the echo of self-doubt is not a call to retreat, but an invitation to engage fully with the rich, unpredictable tapestry of your own life. The Dreamscape of Illogic is a surreal voyage into a realm where reason dissolves into a cascade of unanticipated, almost magical juxtapositions, a place where the familiar laws of logic blur into a shifting dreamlike canvas of possibility. In this space, our everyday expectations are cast aside, replaced by a fluid landscape of ideas that defy the neat categories we're so used to. Instead of strict cause and effect, here we find a whimsical interplay, where every twist of thought is as unpredictable as it is inspiring. Imagine yourself stepping into a world that feels both strange and liberating. The horizon is not marked by rigid lines, but by soft, undulating mists that obscure and reveal in equal measure. In this dreamscape, the rules of gravity, time, and space seem to waver. Objects may float in midair, colors might shift with every blink, and sounds resonate with an echo that transforms as it travels through the air. This is a place where the conventional boundaries of thought and perception fall away, allowing you to explore a mosaic of sensations and ideas that can't be confined to standard logic. In the midst of this illogical expanse, every element of your experience becomes a metaphor, a symbol of the deeper, often paradoxical truths that underlie existence. A single, seemingly misplaced note in a melody might evoke a cascade of memories, emotions, and associations, each one a thread in a tapestry of meaning that is uniquely yours. Here, contradictions are not adversaries to be resolved, but companions in a dance. Joy may be tinged with sorrow, and silence might speak louder than any carefully constructed argument. The dreamscape reminds us that beauty can flourish in the midst of confusion, and that the absence of clear answers often gives rise to the most profound insights. Wandering further into this realm, you begin to notice that the illogic itself seems to have its own internal rhythm, a soft, pulsing cadence that guides your exploration. It is as if the world has composed a piece of music where every discordant note plays a deliberate part in the overall harmony. Much like an abstract painting where every brushstroke contributes to an evocative whole, the seemingly random collisions of ideas in this dreamscape create a symphony of creative expression. This music of illogic invites you not to solve its puzzles, but to immerse yourself in its unfolding mystery, to savor the process of discovery without demanding immediate clarity. In this state of suspended disbelief, you learn to embrace the unexpected. The dreamscape of illogic teaches you that not every question must be answered definitively, and that sometimes the journey through uncertainty is more valuable than the destination of complete understanding. It challenges you to let go of the compulsion for order, and to allow your mind to wander freely among a myriad of possibilities. This gentle release from the constraints of rigid thinking can open the door to creativity and innovation, as it encourages you to see patterns and connections that a strict adherence to logic might have hidden from view. Moreover, the dreamscape of illogic can serve as a mirror for our inner lives. In our hearts, we often experience emotions that resist simple explanations. Moments when love and despair intermingle, or when hope and fear coexist in delicate balance. These internal landscapes, filled with their own kind of beautiful chaos, find a natural resonance in a world where illogic reigns. By accepting that our inner experiences are as multifaceted and unpredictable as the dreamscape itself, we come to appreciate the richness of our own humanity. Our doubts, our eccentricities, and our unorthodox thoughts are not flaws to be corrected, but vibrant expressions of who we truly are. Even in our interactions with others, the dreamscape of illogic offers a way to connect beyond the confines of straightforward communication. When words become vessels for unexpected meanings and conversations, drift into tangents that defy conventional expectations, there is an opportunity to forge deeper bonds. In these moments, the shared experience of wandering through the landscape of illogic can become a source of mutual understanding, a reminder that life's beauty often lies in the unpredictability of our connections. Ultimately, embracing the dreamscape of illogic is an act of liberation. It invites you to step away from the demands for absolute certainty and to celebrate the messy, imperfect, and endlessly creative nature of existence. In the interplay of disjointed thoughts and ephemeral images, you find a space where reason and imagination dance together, a place where the unanswerable becomes a canvas for personal growth and artistic expression. So, as you journey through your day, allow yourself moments of pause to wander into this dreamscape. Listen for the soft echoes of illogic in the laughter of a child, in the fleeting beauty of a sunset, in the unexpected twist of a conversation. Embrace the uncertainty, let your mind drift with the possibilities, and discover that in the unstructured, often perplexing realm of the illogical, there lies a profound invitation to live more fully, creatively, and authentically. The Grelling-Nelson paradox is a fascinating self-referential puzzle in the realm of language and logic, a riddle that asks us to consider how words can describe themselves or fail to do so. At its heart, the paradox divides adjectives into two categories: those that are autological, meaning they describe themselves, and those that are heterological, meaning they do not describe themselves. For example, the word short is itself short, so it is autological, while long is not long, making it heterological. The puzzle emerges when we ask, is the word heterological itself heterological? If heterological is heterological, then by definition it does not describe itself, which would imply that it is autological, contradicting its classification. But if it is autological, then it must describe itself, which would mean it is not heterological. This self-referential loop creates a situation where the word seems to defy a clear categorization, challenging our binary notions of true and false, self-descriptive and not self-descriptive. Imagine a room filled with mirrors, each reflecting another mirror endlessly. In that space, every reflection is both a copy and a distortion of the original, much like how the word heterological reflects on its own meaning. This endless chain of reflections symbolizes the paradox. Every attempt to pin down the nature of heterological only seems to spin us in circles. The paradox forces us to confront the limitations of our language and the inherent complexity of self-reference. Historically, the paradox was first introduced by Kurt Grelling and Leonard Nelson in the early 20th century as they explored questions of meaning and classification. Their work opened a door to broader inquiries in meta-language, asking not just what words mean, but how the meanings themselves interact and sometimes contradict. In doing so, the Grelling-Nelson paradox becomes more than a quirky word game. It is a window into how we construct meaning and how our linguistic frameworks can sometimes betray their own logic. In practical terms, this paradox has implications for how we approach systems of classification and self-reference in mathematics, computer science, and even philosophy. For instance, in computer programming, self-referential functions and recursive algorithms often mirror the kind of circular reasoning found in the paradox. These applications show that while the Grelling-Nelson paradox might seem like an abstract curiosity, it resonates with challenges that occur in many fields where clarity and precision are critical. On a personal level, the paradox invites us to embrace uncertainty and the limits of our knowledge. It reminds us that sometimes, even when we strive for absolute clarity in our definitions and categories, language can slip into ambiguity. This can be both frustrating and liberating. Frustrating because it challenges our desire for neat answers, yet liberating because it opens up space for creativity and deeper thought. Instead of being confined by strict dichotomies, we learn that many aspects of our understanding are layered, complex, and sometimes beautifully paradoxical. Artists, poets, and thinkers have long drawn inspiration from such paradoxes. They see in them a metaphor for the human condition. Our lives are often filled with contradictions, and our own identities are a blend of conflicting impulses and ideas. The Grelling-Nelson paradox, with its endless loop of self-examination, mirrors the way we continuously question who we are and how we fit into the larger tapestry of existence. It tells us that the quest for meaning is not always about finding definitive answers, but about engaging with the mystery itself. In essence, the Grelling-Nelson paradox serves as a reminder that language and logic, though powerful, have their limits. It challenges us to recognize that not every question will have a straightforward answer, and that sometimes the beauty of inquiry lies in the process of questioning itself. As you reflect on this paradox, consider how it encourages a mindset that values exploration over certainty, an approach that, in turn, enriches our understanding of both the world around us and the depths of our own minds. So, as you journey through your day, let the Grelling-Nelson paradox remind you that life is full of puzzles that may never be neatly solved. Embrace the challenge, enjoy the dance of self-reference, and allow yourself to marvel at the endless interplay between what we think we know and the tantalizing mystery that always lies just beyond our grasp. Curry's paradox is a striking and unsettling puzzle in the realm of logic and self-reference, a phenomenon that challenges our deepest intuitions about implication, truth, and the very structure of rational thought. At its core, Curry's paradox arises from a self-referential statement that, unlike the more familiar liar paradox, does not rely on a straightforward negation to generate a contradiction. Instead, it hinges on the seemingly innocuous use of implication in a way that ultimately collapses our binary distinction between true and false. Imagine a sentence that declares, "If this sentence is true, then Santa Claus exists." At first glance, this might sound like a humorous or absurd claim. However, when you analyze it logically, the structure of the statement becomes problematic. Let's denote the sentence by P. The sentence then asserts, "If P, then Q," where Q represents the proposition, "Santa Claus exists." Now, if we assume that P is true, the implication tells us that Q must be true. But what if Q is obviously false, or at the very least, not something that we can prove? The paradox emerges because the truth of P seems to force us into accepting Q, even though our intuition or evidence might contradict it. The heart of Curry's paradox lies in the self-referential nature of P. Unlike the liar paradox, which directly says, "This sentence is false," and creates a loop by negation, Curry's formulation is more subtle. Here the paradox relies on the rules of implication that are standard in many logical systems. In classical logic, if you accept that if P, then Q is true, and then assume P itself is true, you must accept Q. But when P refers to itself, this reasoning leads to a collapse. It forces any conclusion Q into being true, regardless of its content, simply by the virtue of the self-reference. Historically, Curry's paradox has had significant implications for the foundations of mathematics and logic. It demonstrates that systems which allow unrestricted self-reference can become inconsistent, meaning that they can prove any statement, no matter how absurd. This realization was one of the factors that led logicians to develop more refined systems of formal logic, such as type theory or systems that restrict self-referential definitions in order to avoid such paradoxes. In essence, Curry's paradox serves as a cautionary tale. If our logical framework is too permissive, then even seemingly harmless statements can unravel the consistency of the entire system. From a philosophical perspective, the paradox forces us to reconsider the nature of implication itself. We usually take for granted that if, then statements are a reliable tool in our reasoning. Yet Curry's paradox exposes that when these implications interact with self-referential statements, our conventional understanding can break down. It challenges the idea that truth and implication can be neatly separated from the context in which they are used, and suggests that there might be intrinsic limits to our logical languages. On a more personal level, engaging with Curry's paradox can be both intellectually unsettling and creatively stimulating. It reminds us that even the most rigorous systems of thought have boundaries where our concepts of truth begin to blur, and where ambiguity creeps in. This is not necessarily a failure of logic. Rather, it is a sign of the inherent complexity of the world and our attempts to capture that complexity in language. In our own lives, we often encounter situations where the answers are not black and white. The paradox invites us to accept that uncertainty and complexity are integral parts of our intellectual and emotional landscapes. Artists and writers have sometimes used the spirit of Curry's paradox to explore themes of self-reference, ambiguity, and the interplay between truth and illusion. In literature, characters or narratives that reference themselves or whose identities are entangled with the very stories they tell echo the recursive structure of Curry's formulation. These creative works suggest that while logic provides us with powerful framework for understanding the world, there are realms of human experience, filled with contradiction and nuance, that resist being neatly boxed in by strict rationality. Moreover, in the digital age, where information flows freely and boundaries between fact and fiction can become blurred, Curry's paradox serves as a metaphor for the challenges we face in discerning truth. In online spaces, where self-referential memes, viral statements, and contradictory news can circulate without clear resolution, the paradox mirrors the uncertainty of our information ecosystem. It underscores the importance of developing critical thinking skills, so that we remain aware of the limitations of our reasoning and the potential pitfalls of self-referential claims. Ultimately, Curry's paradox is more than just a logical curiosity. It is a window into the delicate balance between structure and freedom in our quest for knowledge. It challenges us to refine our logical systems, to impose necessary constraints that safeguard consistency, and to remain ever vigilant against the seductive allure of unfettered self-reference. At the same time, it invites us to appreciate that the quest for understanding is a dynamic, evolving process, one that must continually adapt to the complexities of both language and thought. So, as you reflect on Curry's paradox, allow it to serve as a reminder that even the most sound reasoning has its limits. Embrace the challenge it presents, not as a defeat of logic, but as an opportunity to delve deeper into the nature of truth, implication, and self-reference. In this delicate interplay between rigorous thought and creative exploration, we find that the pursuit of knowledge is as much about asking the right questions as it is about finding definitive answers.